This is Critical Mass. It's episode 44. It's the TV show. We're a TV show now, right?
We're on television.
Can we say that?
We're televised.
We are. Oh yeah. We're a television show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a TV show where three strapping rapscallions discuss movies the critics and audiences do not agree on. Like tonight's film, Reagan. I'm Nick Honeywell. I'm here with my friends Grizz Griswold, Brian MC Culla, producer Ben. Say hello, gents.
What's up, gang?
Hey, Brian MC Culla here, and I'm ready to get philosophical tonight, gentlemen.
We're going to do that. But before we do that, we're going to break the ice. And it's kind of the question tonight, it goes with the film. So what's your favorite movie or on-screen president of all time?
Man.
Do it.
Idiocracy.
That's a great answer.
That is great.
That's great.
He just makes me so happy. I don't even remember his name. Terry Crews plays
Terry
it.
Crews, yeah.
Isn't it like nacho cheese or something?
Nacho,
President
yeah.
Nacho cheese.
I should have found his name.
What?
But him. Nice. It's so funny. I love it.
That's so. I've never actually seen that movie.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah, I've seen clips from it. I know you guys have talked about it a bunch. I've seen it in
It's basically
pop
a
culture.
documentary at this point.
That's what I
really
keep
is.
hearing,
Yeah.
and I'm worried about watching it now.
So, Grizz, your satire list is Starship Troopers #1, Idiocracy #2.
Yep.
You want to know something funny about that movie? They invented Crocs for that movie. I mean, not invented it, but like
They selected them
they
because of
selected
that.
Crocs because they thought it was such a dumb thing
Yeah.
that no one would wear, and then they all the people wore it, and now it's a thing.
It's
Okay.
incredible.
Good old Dax Shepard.
Yeah, I had to go TV on this one because he was too good of a president on the screen. I mean, Dennis Haysbert as David Palmer from 24.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Holy shit.
Love 24.
That was like my favorite show every season, specifically season 2 and 5.
The Allstate guy. The Allstate
Yeah,
guy.
the Allstate
With the
guy.
big boys.
Gosh dang it. He played an unbelievable president. He was such a hard ass. Oh, it's great.
So there's so many good ones.
So many.
Like
Yeah,
when
there's a
I
lot.
was looking at the list, I was kind of surprised at how many actors I know that have played the role of president, some sort of president. And I'm just going to say a couple that I think would just are honorable mentions.
Okay. Please.
So Harrison Ford, Air Force One,
So good. Get off my plane.
spectacular.
Sorry, I've never seen it.
How about
Whoa.
Whoa.
Back up.
I know. I didn't want to say it too loud.
Who
Fuck.
said that? Was that Ben or Grizz?
It was
was
Ben.
Grizz.
It was Ben. Ben said that.
No,
Ben said it.
I'm not shaming you.
Air Force One is one of my favorite movies.
I'm
of
not
all time.
shaming you.
I
Get
know. It's
outta
on my
here.
list. It's on my list.
There's a
Trust me.
connection between this movie and Air Force One.
Yeah.
There's an actor
I had
connector.
a feeling.
Sorry,
in an
Nick.
airplane.
Sorry,
I
guys.
got triggered, Nick.
I know. I said it really softly to see if
I
you can
can't
get it
wait
past.
for you to see how good that movie is.
I know. I need to check it out.
So good. Gary Oldman.
Sorry.
Perfect.
how about Daniel Day-Lewis in Lincoln? Did you guys see Lincoln?
I never saw that.
Never
was
saw
good.
Lincoln.
Yeah,
No.
neither did I.
How have you
sure
guys
it was
not
probably
seen
one
it?
of the best.
Sure it was
I don't
fucking
know.
unbelievable.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask. I don't know. I just
I mean,
was
his
throwing that one
DDL
out
is one of the
there.
best.
Here's one I have seen, Brian. I'm sure from your favorite director. How about Kevin Costner in JFK?
I haven't seen that either.
That's a good
Oliver
one.
Stone.
That is a good one. I like that.
What do you think?
You gotta see it.
Should I check it
Yeah,
out?
I think
yeah.
you should.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
yes, yes,
iconic.
yes.
I just don't gravitate towards president movies. I don't know.
I get
I'll
it.
check it out.
That one's good. Yeah.
All right, one or two more before we get to my answer. How about Michael Douglas in The American President?
That's good. I watched that. Yeah,
It's
I
actually
like
a pretty
that
solid
seen
movie.
It's good.
And then we would be remiss if we didn't
Bill
bring
Pullman.
up Bill
Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman all day.
Independence
One of
Day.
the best president speeches on. Put to
Anybody
film.
remember his name?
No.
No.
Taylor something. No,
You got the first letter right.
that was way off.
Thomas J. Whitmore.
Whitmore. That's very presidential.
Yeah.
Thomas-
that's
Now that we're on
real
names, do you want to hear Chief Air Commander in Chief for Idiocracy?
Yeah. What's
Oh,
his
yes.
name? What's his name?
His name is Dwayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Herbert Camacho.
Yes,
Camacho, President Camacho.
President.
That's it. Yeah, okay.
Mountain Dew. That's amazing.
All right, here's my answer
Who's your
though.
favorite? Who could your favorite be?
Yeah.
I'm really kind of excited because I want to know if you guys know who this is off the top of your head. I'm going to be kind of impressed, but you will know immediately with a tiny bit of explanation. How about President Lindbergh of the Federated Territories?
Federated.
You guys remember? Yeah, I know you guys have seen this
Starship
movie, and I know you guys
Starship
love
Troopers?
this movie. No, it's a great presidential
Fifth
performance.
Element by Debo.
Oh, shoot.
Absolutely
yeah.
nailed it,
Debo!
Brian.
Dang.
Tommy.
Nice.
I
Sorry,
forgot about
I'll give you
him.
that.
Tommy Tiny Lister Jr. Yes, better known as Debo. What a great, a brief appearance, but really a spectacular one. I love the opening of that film. I love everything about that film. It's a perfect movie.
He's so
Dang.
shouldn't work as the president, but for some reason
so
it just adds to the ludicrousness of that movie, which is so endearing, and like he can't even speak right.
It's a dare I say a perfect film.
I love Fifth Element. It's so rewatchable.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Fun icebreaker tonight.
That was good.
Yeah. So now Grizz has got a special announcement, as he does every week. Let's
Every
go.
single week.
criticalmasspodcast.com. criticalmasspodcast.com. Check it out. You can see all the latest episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and our YouTube channel. Check it out.
YouTube.
Dang,
That's right.
Grizz, you really messed up that Apple podcast.
Yeah, I messed that
thing.
one up. That's my bad, guys.
Yeah, we're working on that segment, guys. But
I'll own it.
Sorry,
Yeah.
we'll get it right.
Another brief new segment. We're going to the feedback corner. Anyone else get any feedback yet this week that they want to talk about or anything we want to try to improve?
Feedback corner. I wasn't ready for feedback corner.
No, that's okay. I'll just give an update on my sock game.
okay.
Oh, yeah. No, we're saying feedback from our audience.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I,
So this is just sock
Yeah.
talk.
I probably had
Yeah.
feedback this week, but I can't.
I
think
got a decent amount this week.
Okay, great.
yeah,
great.
I got a decent
But you
amount.
do
Here's
have
a carries.
some.
I got a little
Oh,
bit. I mean,
can I just
yeah,
want
go.
let's go
Let's
socks.
go. The socks are more important.
You can't. So I've got a no-show happening tonight.
I know.
So, but
For a high top.
But if something crazy happens and it sneaks up the ankle, it is black. So hopefully it won't be quite as distracting as the white sock. So I almost did a gray kind of patterned dress sock, but I figured that might be too distracting.
Yeah, I'd say so.
We're working on it. Please leave a comment, and we'll keep working on it.
I like that you're trying everything out. I mean, you're refining your sock game.
Yeah, last week we had a little bit of a gray sock, and anyways, Grizz, what do you got?
I went to a friend's 40th birthday party this weekend, and it was very fun how many friends of mine, there were about 20, 25 of us there, that came up to me and talked about the podcast. It was so exciting to see that they had been listening, and I appreciate you guys. Happy birthday, Jeff. But
What was their feedback?
It was mostly all positive. I won't get into details, but I was
You
very
don't have
excited
to.
to just hear about how excited they were that we were doing a podcast.
The very fact that we got feedback.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
They
to
were just
feed my
excited.
soul.
They loved it. They were talking about specific movies. They were excited about Saw coming out next. They were
Yeah.
just,
All right.
it was great.
Sweet. Good job, Mr. 40-year-old.
Yeah.
man.
Thanks, friends.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Like and subscribe, everyone. Right? Okay. Tonight, we're talking about a film from the year of our Lord 2024. It is the final film of our 2024 Halloween series. No, this one it could be, it's kind of scary. It's called Reagan.
Governor Reagan again, typically, is against such a proposal.
There you go again.
But he was not afraid to take us on.
There's nothing a retired governor can do about the Soviets, but a president.
Now he can do a thing or two.
Welcome to your life.
I was a lifeguard on a river,
There's no turning back.
and I learned how to read the currents. Not just the ones on the surface, but also the ones deep underneath the water.
I am about to start the biggest war of this century, and I'm not going to fire a single shot.
You're gonna blow up 8 years of diplomacy.
Well, if you think that got their undies in a wad, you just wait.
What did the president know, and when did he know it?
What would you have me do?
I want you to fight.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Wants to rule the world.
So let's talk numbers. This one cost $25 million to make, which I guess seems about right. Does that seem about right?
It seems right.
Yeah.
Yeah, people talked about being a high
maybe-
number, and I just don't think
I was thinking
that's-
maybe in a little low.
Well,
I
they
know.
shot all over the place.
Yeah, and there were a
Yeah.
lot of different, little vignettes.
I'm not
and-
saying that it's not like they shot the John Voight stuff in Russia, but I mean there was a lot of exterior.
Right, there were flashbacks.
They probably
and
did.
Going places,
Yeah.
and there was
period stuff.
Yeah, when you're dealing with you're back in the 40s, and then you're in the 60s and the 80s. Everything's got.
I
to
mean,
be
with
period
this hair and
appropriate.
makeup and CG budget,
Well, we'll get into that. So far it has made $30 million. So not exactly a hit so far. But not a total disaster, I guess. I suspect they didn't spend a whole lot of money marketing this movie, but I guess I don't really know.
It also took 4 years from production
Right.
to
Yeah.
release. So
not great.
Not great.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
good.
it's down.
They also, I guess they had some troubles with this movie being flagged on Facebook when they tried to promote it. So I guess they were not allowed to promote on social in a lot of aspects. So that's, I'm sure that killed a lot of it. I don't know how many people find movies on social, but I would imagine it's a lot.
Yeah.
So who directed this film? Well, a fine gentleman named Sean McNamara. I didn't know who that was. Did you guys?
No, and then I looked at his IMDb.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's hear it.
So he's done a lot of kids' TV shows as a director, in a shitload of shitty movies. Like
Shitload of
it's kind
shitty.
of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Like I don't even know where to begin. So how about Three Ninjas number 4, High Noon at Mega Mountain, starring Hulk Hogan and none of the original actors.
One
from
of
the
my
previous
favorite
films.
movies of all time.
Why?
There's literally no one in it from the.
I know, that's my point. Why? That's strange.
And then Hulk Hogan's in it. He did.
You're going to tell me Tum Tum is a new character?
Tum
Tum's
Tum
new character.
Is
Good
new.
Lord.
I know. I don't know what to do with that.
Where are we living in?
He did Into the Blue 2, The Reef.
Oh, God.
How about
He did a lot of sequels.
R.I.P.
How about-
Paul Walker.
Cats and Dogs 3, Paws Unite?
Hell yes. That's my jam.
Now, this is one, I heard this one just barely missed an Oscar nod for Best Picture. It was the Bratz movie.
Yeah, that was the one I was
Just barely.
most excited
Barely
about.
missed it.
That's Bratz with the Z.
Z, of
Yep.
course.
Right.
Absolutely.
And who could forget Aliens Ate My Homework? I mean, I feel like,
Classic.
I mean, all of us have seen that, 7, 8, 9 times. And then there's Reagan.
Well, there's also 3 Baby Geniuses sequels.
Oh, well, right.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot. To
Don't
be fair,
forget
there's a
about
lot.
He
There's a lot.
directed he has 42 directing credits.
Oh my God.
And do you know how many are fresh with critics? Out of 42 shots to get just above a 60% with critics.
Yeah, I would say
Has to be
none.
one.
Yeah.
He has one fresh with critics
What is it?
movie. It's a movie called Race to Space in 2001. It got a 71%, and not very many critics.
Oh, I think
rated
that's
it.
the one with the chimpanzee and the child.
Okay.
It is, yeah.
Pulling
They're
at those
trying to-
heartstrings.
Yeah, they're trying to go to
Yeah.
the. I think he's going to the moon with the chimp.
I mean, when do you? At what point do you give up?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, wow.
how can you all your shit, everything you've done,
But
get
you know what?
critically panned? I guess it was that one movie that he.
You know what? He goes out to his mailbox every month. He opens it up.
Yeah, the
There's
residuals.
There's a
now,
check in there.
that's a good. I don't know if we're going to talk about this later, but how often do you look at, if you're a filmmaker, how much do you really are going after the critics versus the larger portion of audience?
Depends on if you're McG or if you're Darren Aronofsky. I mean, it depends. It depends on the reason.
I mean,
why
you
you're
want to
making films.
grab at both.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the ideal goal, but
Yeah.
So,
again, it just
it's
depends.
hard.
It just depends on what kind of director you are. There's different kinds of directors.
So this one written by a man named
man?
Howard Klausner, and he is a guy.
by a man guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He hasn't written anything that got produced in quite some time. He's got a few random things 10, 20 years ago.
Anything we'd know?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
He's
move
got
on.
like 3 things from 10, 20 years. So this guy got the job. He knew somebody that knew somebody, and good job, Howard.
Good job.
Interesting.
He's the guy. Susan Reagan. Well, we got Dennis Quaid. We got Penelope Ann Miller. We got Mina Suvari. We got Johnny Drama. We got David David who? Henry? David Henry. I don't know who that is, but he was on the list. John Voight.
John Voight.
John Voight.
John Voight. We're going to talk
Oscar,
about
Oscar
John
winner,
Voight.
John Voight.
But guys, who else do we have? We've got Scott Stapp. Grizz's favorite.
Guys, I'm excited.
We've got
Oh, he was in this?
that.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I thought
Scott
you
Stapp
I thought you made that up. I thought you
no,
made that. I was
Scott
like,
Stapp as Frank Sinatra, the one and only.
oh, that's who that cheesy ass was. That
Guys,
was disgusting.
can you
That was
imagine
the
what-
As soon
cringiest
as I
scene.
saw
You
them
think Frank
walking
Sinatra's family
into
signed
that
off?
1941 bodega, whatever they want to call it, and you see his close up, I knew
the blue
exactly.
light?
I knew exactly who they were talking about.
I didn't recognize him. I thought when you texted that this week and you said that, I was like, "Oh my god, that's fucking brilliant!" I
it's
gave you
so
all
good.
the credit for that. I didn't
No,
realize
this-
that's
it's in
what
this movie.
It was
happened.
literally.
Oh, we're watching it right now on screen. Oh, it's so
That's
good.
so
Guys,
cringe.
Scott Stapp is one thing. We've also got Big Daddy Kevin Sorbo in this one.
Wow.
Yeah, he's the
So what-
the pastor guy, right?
How did we get so
We're blessed. We're blessed.
I mean, speaking of stuff,
hashtag blessed?
Hashtag blessed.
actually, I have should I buy tickets to Creed in a couple weeks when I'm down in Austin with a friend? He's going to see Creed. Should I go ahead and buy those tickets
I
now?
mean, I would never do that, but you know,
how often do you get to go see Creed live?
I've seen a lot of videos of him preaching like mid song.
yeah, I can't do it.
no!
Yeah.
I mean, they've got 2 good songs.
Yeah, they got a couple.
Total.
Yeah, in the last 30 years.
Yeah. Who else do we got, Nick?
I don't know.
Quiet.
I'm just kind of uncomfortable. No, nobody else.
Okay.
That's everyone in this film. Quick refresher about our criteria for the movies we talk about on this podcast. So the movie's got to be fresh with audiences and rotten with critics, or vice versa on Rotten Tomatoes. The disparity's got to be 20% or so. So on Rotten Tomatoes, we've got 18% with critics on this one, 98%. My voice even cracked a little bit there. 98%.
You got nervous. Yeah.
With audiences. Excuse me. Not a typo. Shit's crazy. Biggest critical mess of all time. Here it is.
Did you look at the top critics?
No. Is it even lower?
It's 0.
Oh my.
0%.
This is almost the perfect critical mass film.
Wow.
0 from the top critics, 98 from the audience. The
Here
top
it is right now. How lucky are you, dear viewer?
Oh man,
This is incredible.
We're doing the hard work.
This is why our podcast was created for tonight.
It's at least an 80% difference, but in some ways it's
Even more.
Virtually 100.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure we'll ever beat this, but let's get into it. Let's get into it. Reagan, what was our first exposure to this? Wait, you know what? We need to talk about our sponsor.
We sure do.
Who are
We
sponsored
sure
by,
do
Nick?
before we get into this film. Well, we're always sponsored by
minute.
Old Elk.
Wait a minute. What's this?
And
What
do
is
we
that
have
to the
there?
left?
What's this?
What is
Stage
that?
left. What do we got?
Well, you read it.
Oh, this is the Old Elk 4 grain. We have not had this yet, have we?
No.
I don't think so. This is, I have no idea what it tastes like. I'm going to guess it's majestic.
I'd say probably ambrosial.
Yeah.
Ambrosia is a good word.
Super
Majestic
ambrosial.
seems not quite.
Could you pour
good
me
enough?
a finger?
Absolutely.
I think we also a word that we lost. I feel like was divine.
Did we say divine?
We did use divine early on.
That's good.
Look at that pour.
Let me tell you.
This guy's done that before.
Let me tell you. I'll tell you. Divine.
Divine. That's a good, I don't know if we've used that word yet, have we?
I think a long time ago, maybe. I mean, it also just goes without saying that it's peerless.
That's so good. That is buttery.
I love it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Very good. Thanks, Old Elk.
Thanks, Old Elk, and thanks to Modelo,
Modelo.
who keeps us hydrated throughout the show.
Yep.
Thanks, Modelo.
Thank you.
So now we're getting into it. First exposure to this film. I hope it wasn't more than once and more than a week ago.
Yeah, it was.
But let's see. What do you got?
I watched it this past Friday, and that was it.
Okay.
Nice. I couldn't sacrifice a night to watch this, so I watched it on Monday. I'm sorry, while working.
Today's a Tuesday, so yesterday.
Yep, I watched it yesterday. Yep, yesterday.
I watched a chunk of it last night, and then I just feverishly tried to get through it, the rest of it today, right before up into the wire. So
I feverishly tried to get through it from the moment I turned it on,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
and I did it.
That
Fucking did it.
in that spirit, I think it's time to give the people what they want and rate this
What
film.
do we got?
I just need to.
Yeah, take a sip, let it rip.
All right. So first of all,
Oh, God.
this movie was as bad as The Matrix is good. Whoa. There's my Matrix reference. Second of all, it's disjointed, all over the place, totally a mess. I think it's incomplete. It is the minimum viable product for a movie, and it's a propaganda film. And for those reasons, I'm giving it 5 points.
Whoa.
You're fucking welcome, Reagan.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm going to go with my gut, and this is the number I had in my mind from the first 5-10 minutes of watching this film. I gave it a 5.
Oh
sorry,
my
Brian.
God.
What? Wait, whoa, what?
Yep. I was going to give it an extra couple points, but I...
Wait, don't just keep talking.
I know. I know.
You gave Reagan a 5?
Yeah.
And I gave Reagan a 5.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Finish
I'm
your
aware.
drinks, guys.
I'm aware of this. We have to finish our drinks.
I think this is blasphemy.
If you're not aware that we have a nice rule
Wait,
on the
I can
podcast.
I can finish my Modelo.
You can finish. Go finish the Modelo. Yeah. Finish
Do I
the
have to drink
Modelo.
mine too, or is it?
Yes, you do.
I mean, mine's
No,
not.
everybody does.
Yeah.
No, you're in this with us, Nick. We all
Yeah.
have.
I'm sorry, Ben. You're only drinking Modelo or only drinking Buffalo Trace.
The reason that we started this.
5. Wow. I
That's
respect
great
that
TV.
5.
All right.
Let me jot
Wow.
it down on the old list. All right, I've got
Hold on.
Brian with a 5, Grizz with a 5, Nick. Or did you want to talk more about your
expound
5?
a little bit on that.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, it wasn't until I started reading more reviews about the propaganda style of this, but this movie felt so far from anything that I have ever expected from a film that would be made today. But it's the acting, the set pieces, the special effects, everything. The tone, holy shit. I mean, it was all over the place. I couldn't tell if it was a comedy or a drama or a documentary or a biopic. I have no idea. I still don't know what it is.
It had the tone of an out-of-tune dulcimer.
But the number I had in mind was a 5, the entire, from 10 minutes in.
That is crazy.
Through the film. Wow. And I had another number written down with maybe a couple more points, but I couldn't. I just can't do it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5.
So better
100. Better than 100.
Better than Madam Web.
Yes.
Just barely.
Madam Web, I gave a 0 out of 100. So go back and listen to that episode.
All right. We got 2 5s.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 45.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Because that's the Lord's caliber. And this is America.
Is it because of the president?
Okay. Nope. It's because that's what I felt about the film, damn it. Okay, so we've got some disagreement here. To be fair, 45 is still a bad review, but
it's not great.
I'm going to talk about some things I like, and mainly I just want to argue with you guys. So
yeah, I'm not gonna hassle you too much for that. I was gonna say you gave The Last Jedi a 21.
Yeah, I like this better than that.
And you gave Reagan.
you like this?
I won't compare. I won't compare. I respect you. I respect.
100% stand behind both of those
what
numbers.
What did I give Last Jedi? What was it?
45.
I'm about to start raising my score here.
I feel okay with that.
All right, we have rated this film and don't have total agreement. Well, there's some agreement, some very close agreement.
There's perfect agreement on the couch.
Yeah,
we got it. All right, we got this.
Critics and audiences don't agree on this film, and
they sure don't.
We're going to talk about that, and I think there's a lot to talk about here, probably.
Yeah,
because it's the biggest gap ever.
I mean, let's be honest. That's why we created this podcast, because we really wanted to explore movies that really surprised us for having that discrepancy, and we've discovered many more movies since we started doing this podcast. And there's a lot more movies that I thought matched that match our.
I was worried
I
was worried the concept was not going to fit.
Yeah, I was thinking,
how many movies?
40 episodes, but man, we got a list of like 400. I mean, we're never going to get through all these. Yeah,
yeah, we keep adding them. Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I agree, Nick. I think that this, I feel like this will probably, and I don't want to steer where this goes, but this will probably be more a look into the actual audience or the popcorn people, which Katie coined. So I'm going to start using that, popcorn people and critics. Than us arguing our scores. Although, maybe it will be us arguing our scores. I don't know. But
it's our podcast.
I think you're right. I think that this will be an interesting one. And critics' consensus is, while Reagan the movie undoubtedly admires Reagan the man, its cloying and glossy rendering of history flattens the 40th U.S. president into caricature. Richard Roper, Chicago Sun-Times. A fawning biopic light on subtlety. Was this movie subtle in any way?
No. It was not.
Alex Lee, AV Club. The greatest sin of Reagan, though, is not its warped worldview, which is to be expected, but that for a movie about a man who puts himself at the center of a world apparently on the brink of annihilation, Reagan lacks any drama at all. Was this movie at all dramatic to you?
I thought there was some drama to be had.
I mean, maybe at the very, very, very end. But like I said earlier, I have no idea if this was a drama or a comedy or a docu I have no idea what this was. It was just all over the place.
It was basically a theatrical documentary, I think.
Yeah.
To me, there were things that should have felt dramatic, like his assassination attempt, the de-escalation of the nuclear arms, the Berlin Wall. Yeah. But none of them felt dramatic at all.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
My opinion.
I mean, I can appreciate them cutting the real footage to the actual footage they shot and back and forth. I can appreciate that, but it was just
no. Stephen Farber, Hollywood Reporter. Most of the major events in Reagan's life are covered, but few of them are recounted in an incisive fashion. Was this movie intelligent at all to you?
It was honestly kind of shocking how oversimplified much of those big world events were. It was like it was like for children, sort of.
Yeah.
But I also have a very childlike mind, so I was like, I needed that sort of very on the nose.
Yeah, but let's not forget, you also didn't like the movie. So I don't
true.
feel like you.
That's true, but I feel like that added
seems like
to it
you
for
liked
me.
it compared to how low we rated
That's
it. But
fair.
if we
That
look
is
at
fair.
the whole thing, you gave it a
Very
45.
true. Very
That's a
true.
bad rating.
That's true.
Yeah. So I'm not going to expect you to be defending it, although feel free.
But I am going to a little bit, just
play
because it's
devil's
fun.
advocate.
Just because it's fun.
Yeah. Well, and clearly, not everyone listening to this or watching this is going to agree with the critics. A lot of them-
mostly, I don't think we have any critics that watch us. The only people are audience, like would-be audience members. So generally...
We'll get into this later, but I think the popcorn people on this don't represent just random people. I think they represent...
We are the popcorn people.
I think they represent
We are
Republicans
the
and
popcorn
Christians.
people.
I think they represent Republicans and Christians.
Yeah, I'll get ready to read those.
And this
for you.
much higher.
You mean like always, or like?
I mean,
just for
in this film.
I
Okay.
think this
I
movie
scrolled-
pulled those people in,
Sure.
and a lot of people who already had their minds made up or looked at the critic reviews just didn't see it. So I think this isn't a fair representation of maybe something more like The Last Jedi, where it's like probably a much more dynamic demographic went to see it.
I mean, this had 1,000 audience reviews versus Last Jedi had
Probably-
tens of
probably
thousands
25,
of
30,000,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
insane.
And it didn't have a shitload of critic reviews, right? I mean, it was
It had
very
like
many,
40
yeah.
critic
Yeah.
and about 1,000 audience.
This is kind of one of those...
enough though to give the...
Yeah.
There's a movie came out recently called Am I Racist? And I think a lot of these movies are made from outlets that people have already made up their minds about and are already against and aren't going to go see. And I think this was kind of one of those, unfortunately.
Sure.
Well, maybe not unfortunately. I take that back. Nick Shager, The Daily Beast. Regardless of how you feel about Ronald Reagan, the president, most will be united in finding this biopic a preachy, plodding, graceless groaner. Do you guys think that you have to agree with Reagan's worldview or just like Reagan as a fan to appreciate this movie? It's an interesting question.
No, I don't. I am not a history buff. I have no idea about that time frame, history. I have no clue.
But you hated it.
Well, but I think you do. I think aren't you answering that you do? Like
that
because you don't care about Reagan and you hated the movie. So my question is, do you think that the only people who love this movie are people who care about Ronald Reagan?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
I don't know. I don't want to put those words in your mouth.
I think
but
it helps a lot.
Sure.
I mean, I think this movie is one of the, maybe we'll get into this a little more later, but one of the few films I've ever seen that I was like specifically targeting like the 75 plus demographic.
Yeah. And I read a lot of these audience reviews and we'll get to those, but I'm sure you have a couple too. But a lot of them were just people that were already dead set on liking this person or they already had lived through his era. So they knew exactly what they were getting into when they got to it before they even got to the movie. So
I'll say go back and listen to Maestro. It's another biopic episode we've done, and I think that's an example of something that could have also probably was tailored to the 75 plus demographic. But I also think that you don't have to give a fuck about who Leonard Bernstein is to care about or see that movie, and I think that's how you do it. And I liked that movie. I didn't love it. I don't like biopics very much, but that's an example of like you could have made Reagan in that way, but you didn't. And maybe you would have made less money.
Just the movie is made much better. It also probably had a much bigger budget, right?
Sure, but
that's true.
You don't have to have a big budget to make a good movie.
Yeah, true.
Joe Layden, Variety. This is the last critic review. There is a great deal more hagiography than history in Reagan, a worshipful biopic of the 40th U.S. president that often plays like the cinematic equivalent of Cliff's Notes. How did this movie present Reagan the man to you? How did this movie present Reagan?
I'd say Christ-like.
Yeah, perfection. I think they just really tried to show him off in the best possible way. I'm not going to I mean, they're just trying to tell a single story, and I say single story, but they're trying to show a single movie with a lot of different storylines. But
yeah, I think
they definitely picked and chose which ones they wanted.
I agree. I think Christ-like is perfect, and I'll just rephrase that and say I think that he was presented as the savior of not only the country but the world. Right. Not just a man, but a savior. So
worshipful is a good word from that review. Yeah.
So critics are panning it just. I think critics, for the most part, are saying this movie's agenda was was too far. It just went too far. It did not recount historical events correctly. It excluded things that it needed to have, and it just presented just something that was a schlock tailored to a specific audience.
I don't know how much it was presented, and I haven't investigated this too much, like incorrectly the historical events.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Sure, they were massively oversimplified.
I think,
and like to a ridiculous extent, but like
I'll say I think the two things it did was oversimplified everything and also excluded very important things.
Yeah.
Number 100%, the most notably and damning thing that they
misrepresented things
was
too.
the war on drugs. They did not
Oh,
add
yeah.
that
Oh,
all
yeah,
in here.
yeah, yeah,
and that, to me, is just as bad as them getting facts completely wrong. So very disingenuous.
Yeah, it was not an
include any of
even
that.
representation of the ups and downs.
And we'll talk
of the
about the war on
presidency.
drugs and how that fucked everybody over and is still fucking everybody over.
Okay, what are we going to talk about now? We're going to talk about audience.
Popcorn
reviews
people.
and the popcorn.
Guys, the popcorn people.
I love how
Our
Katie
people.
named them the popcorn people.
Not our
off
people. Maybe
the
our people. Who
rails.
knows?
This first one you're going to really like, Brian.
Okay.
You ready? I'm sure you already
wait.
read some of these. 11.2 out of 10.
I didn't read that.
3 exclamation points. A cinematic masterpiece. So entertaining. 5 out of 5 stars.
Why 11.2? Was that a reference?
I don't know.
Huh.
11
Maybe.
point,
I
yeah, I don't
sounds
know.
like their brain's just stupid.
Yeah. I mean, a
feeling?
lot of these were just wildly positive. They were mostly speaking to, one, a generation, two, a specific person without actually talking about the movie, which is, it's hard. Patricia, Patricia R, 5 out of 5 stars again. Great history lesson and story. Very well done. I did not fact check a lot of this. I think the only thing that I was curious about was, did he win the Cold War and then bring down the
Let's get
wall?
one thing straight. Top Gun won the Cold War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've discussed this.
Yeah. So that was a little confusing. I did not do any fact checking on that.
I have to also just answer your question. I did no fact checking, nor do I feel like I need to, nor do I care to, nor do I
We're
feel
trying
like
to be
that's
as
relevant
objective
at
as we
all.
can as
Because this is a
somewhat
movie,
critical
not a documentary.
people. Yeah, somewhat critical people of a podcast.
So yeah, to answer the question, that's
John C, 4 out of 5 stars. So a little bit more critical. This is another example how the so-called, quote, critics are out of touch with the audience. If the movie does not slant towards
the left,
it will get slammed by critics.
I had that one written down too.
Yeah.
You know what my problem with that one is? John C. Hey, buddy. Hey, John C.
John?
Okay. Critics aren't supposed to be in touch with the audience.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to be in touch with the fucking movie that they're critiquing. So maybe, just figure out how the world works, buddy.
Granted, see, Brian wants peace, so
yeah, he's ready to fight.
you let him know.
Come find
I mean,
Hey.
granted, this is a very difficult.
It might be John C. Riley.
I challenge you to
John
Starship
C. Riley?
Troopers.
Yeah,
Oh, if it's John C. Riley, I take it all back.
yeah. Take it all back.
Take it all back.
Anthony T, 4 out of 5 stars. Good acting by all. Great storyline. A bit odd who's narrating, okay, but it grows on you. Well produced and directed. Now, as critical people, us at this podcast, we're trying to be as objective and analytical and, as precise, unbiased and precise as we can with how we talk about these movies every time we do an episode. So, do we feel like it was a great storyline? Like the narration, he also called that out as a great piece of this film.
And the narration was really, really bad. Like Nick said, it was a movie for kids because I feel like anytime you were ever confused, they had the narration to.
Well,
kind
it
of
was a
bring you
movie for
down.
adults.
Yeah. I know what you meant though. It's like like you don't want to have to think.
Yeah,
you know?
right. It was very spoon-fed.
Yeah,
and that's okay. With
That
the movie,
is
but
fine.
in this movie, it was bad. I'm trying to answer. I guess. Yeah, I just think I don't know if there was a story to this. I think it was like I think it's like they put Post-it notes in a grid of everything that ever happened in Reagan's life, and they just threw darts, or maybe they just selected
I think they went for the
58
highlights,
most important
which
things,
is fine.
and they're like, let's just put them all in there.
I think they went for the highlights, and I think that's what they tried to go after. They tried to portray this person from history in the best light possible, which is, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Well, that behooves the question: why? Why do they need to do that?
yeah.
Because that is very, very manipulative.
Yeah.
To take I mean, I hate to say it, but it's like movies about Christianity and Jesus. Like they take. It's like the agenda is to evangelize, right? And I'm not even mad at Christian movies because I know that that's what they're called to do and that's what they want to do. But for Reagan, why does Reagan need to be evangelized? I think the answer is for political reasons. And I think that that's not a good reason to
And
make a
then,
movie.
as Ben was talking about earlier, like I think this movie was meant to come out in 2020. There were a lot of interviews with a lot of the main actors that talked about, we don't necessarily want this to come out during an election year, which is ironic because they shot this in 2020
Now
or
it's coming
wanted to
out.
release it in 2020. Maybe they shot it
No,
before
they
that.
shot it in 2020
And
because
they wanted to release this in 2020.
Oh, really? It's
Yeah.
that old?
And so they wanted it to come out at that time frame. And they were all worried about this coming out during an election year to create buzz, and they weren't wanting this movie to be that. At least the actors didn't want this movie to be that. So I don't know if they knew fully. I know the cut was actually longer than this. It's 2 hours plus long.
220, yeah.
So this, I guess the cut was
imagine
3.5 plus hours. So
You know
they
what
probably had other
think about this.
storylines.
You know what my nightmare would be? If I'm an actor and I'm not, an A-lister yet, and I'm trying to get in stuff.
Not yet.
And like my agent gets me into some shit like this, and I'm in it, and I realize what it is after the fact. Like, can you imagine like being in that conundrum and having to like do press and like, I don't know, like how often does that happen?
And then they had
quite a
problems
bit.
with
Really?
financing,
Yeah.
so they couldn't get it. So that's what took them 4 years to. And then, ironically, it came out in 2024, another election year.
Now, to be clear, I think Dennis Quaid was in this very intentionally, and
Yeah.
John Voight. But I'm sure a lot of the side actors didn't realize what they were in. They were just getting a paycheck, and now they're like,
Sure.
Yeah. I got a few more. Deanne, 5 out of 5 stars. I think every 18 to 40-year-old should see this film. Great documentary. One of Quaid's best performances I've seen.
Oof, documentary. It kills me.
Called it out as a documentary.
it's not a documentary.
Now, I admit some documentaries, many of the documentaries can be swayed one way or another to try to persuade you to believe a certain thing. Narration, all those things can happen. But do you feel this was a documentary?
No, I don't. It doesn't matter what I
it's not.
feel.
It is,
There's
yes.
there's a genre called documentary, and this was not in that genre.
Now,
so-
audiences are believing this was a documentary. Now, that's a little hard. I saw that a couple times through the reviews.
People just don't understand what that word means.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, that's hard. DK, 5 out of 5 stars again. Amazing movie. Amazing how they were able to fit 2+ decades of history in just under 3 hours.
Oh, they made it. They made it fit.
It
This
felt like 2 decades.
This movie might have had the most amount of times where there would be a location and a date at the bottom of the screen. I didn't count, but I wouldn't be surprised if there weren't 50 times in this movie where it said a location and a date.
Oh, and like
that's how you fit it in.
like name supers.
Oh,
like,
and the names.
all the time. It was like,
yeah,
it'd be
yeah.
like 80% through the movie. It'd be like nude supers.
Yeah,
like
I felt
showing
like
people like,
reading
what?
a Wikipedia article. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I've got one audience to read.
I got to just have a couple more.
Go for it.
All right, I'll just throw a couple. They're both 5 out of 5 stars. So Sharon R. Excellent historical film. Great acting.
Nobody was great. Nobody.
Acting. I mean, you
I
had a
thought some
higher
of the
score.
acting was okay. I thought some of it was bad, and I thought some of it was okay.
I
like
really
the
was
lifeguard.
Yeah.
But
Actually,
it never
Savard
really
wasn't
went
bad.
above okay in my mind.
What's that?
Like the acting never really went above okay.
I thought, well,
Like there were a couple scenes.
The thing that got me with the acting was the inconsistency. I think that if they were somewhat more consistent across the board, because there were some characters that felt super over the top and then super underwhelming and then super over the top, or they were just like trying to play dramatic and they were trying to play comedic. And I had no idea if they were trying to be funny or if they were trying to be like a Wolf of Wall Street or they were trying to be like a Maestro. I had no idea. Like there were a lot of moments where I just couldn't tell if they were trying to be one or the other style of
And
film.
that's the tonal mess that
And
that we were
the
talking
tonal
about.
mess just this threw me way off when it came to acting, and I think that was the hardest part. Where when you make a film like this, you're trying to portray somebody that actually lived and had history, and was so impactful for people of a lot of generations. So it's really hard for me to kind of see this. Yeah, I think I have one more. Hugh B, 5 out of 5 again. Just watch Reagan, and it's terrifyingly relevant. Marxists and communists are still infiltrating our infrastructure and chipping away at our freedom. I'm just grateful that most people have started waking up to the dangers of complexity and then the fight against authoritarianism. And it just goes on and on
I'm
about
glad you
people.
read that one.
Yeah, I know you've had.
Because spoiler, Brian's Corner. I'm really glad you read that one.
It's aggressive, and just people got so opinionated with a lot of these reviews, and I don't know if they just even watched the film to see, because it felt like a TV special. The acting, the makeup, the cinematography,
like a Hallmark movie, kind of.
Yeah, like not even Hallmark. I mean, Hallmark can make some damn good movies, like in comparison to this. So it's hard for me to look at this. I think it's just tonally, we go back to that and just how much they were trying to say one thing and then they said another thing and they just kept going and going and going and going. So
my one I was going to read here was, and and I think this person really shows their cards accidentally by the way they phrase this. And that's what I love about reading these. Meme T says, I consider it an honor to give this a glowing 5 stars. So that sounds fine, right? But should you ever consider it an honor to give a movie 5 stars? What does that say about how you view that movie?
You went in with predisposed.
Exactly. That shows that you came in with something that you.
That's why I saved that one for last. Yeah.
And you consider it an honor. And I just think that right there, you're reviewing a movie for the wrong reasons if you consider it an honor to give it that rating. So.
Okay.
Yikes. Big
Nick,
disparity.
what do you think, buddy?
Big disparity.
I think we're going to flip the script is what I think.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Well, after I say something about Old Elk and how delicious it is, because I just had a nip.
I still have this much to drink of it.
Oh my!
Ooh, can't wait.
Boy, was that ambrosial? It was really delicious. I'm not even saying that just to say. I mean, it really was.
No, this is like
Yeah, it was a solid drink.
Yeah, it was really good.
It's like fireworks of color. It's like the cover of a Coldplay album in my mouth right now.
Wow.
Sure, we'll go with that. Okay, and Modelo. We love Modelo.
Oh yeah,
thanks Modelo, for being you. We are going to flip the script now, and that's where
I'm just going to interrupt.
Let it ride. That's a long outro.
Got to let that bass line just kind of simmer. Yeah. Okay. Flip the script. That's a segment where if we like the movie, we talk about what we didn't like, and vice versa. So let's do that. I expect this to be brief this evening.
I'll start. I liked one thing about the movie.
Okay.
I thought they did a good job with the period-specific set pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I got to admit, you were saying that earlier, and I have to agree that was probably a large portion of the budget. I think period pieces are outrageously difficult to shoot. And so I can respect a film that tries to make a period piece because you have to source the cars, the clothes, the makeup, the hair, the everything. So there's so much more that goes into it. And that's probably why a lot of directors and filmmakers don't go period pieces. They try to simplify the best they can, especially if you have a tight budget. So I can respect that.
If I could be more accurate, I don't even necessarily think they did a good job with them. I'm just giving them 5 points because they tried to do it.
Yeah.
Like that. I don't know how you do that. It's got to be tough. So that's 5 points. Good job, buddy.
Yeah.
Reagan.
I think Dennis Quaid, that might have been the biggest piece of this movie that I actually enjoyed. And it was weird because tonally it was so off, but I think Dennis Quaid actually did a really decent job at acting this. But he showed comedy, he showed drama, he showed seriousness, he showed quirkiness, he showed weirdness. I think he pulled off like trying to play off Reagan. And I think I can't even imagine trying to play somebody that's a real person and trying to pull from all these things that are outrageously historical for decades.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes if I close my eyes and I listened, it did remind me of how Ronald Reagan talked.
Yeah, and I know he took like a bunch of acting lessons to try to get that voice and that dialect and all those things down, and I can respect that all day. So I think that's one of the things that I liked about this film is just how much he actually did personify a lot of those things. I think the hard part is he just did it in such a wide range that it made it difficult to really connect with that character. So
yeah, okay, great.
All right. Well, I liked the history element of this movie. I was a history major. I enjoy history.
Oh, you were?
I was.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think history, and especially like 20th century American history, I think is just super interesting. And yeah, I know that it didn't, I think it was a nice refresher on things that happened. It did not, as we've talked about, it was super oversimplified and didn't go into any interesting detail really about them happening, but it reminded me of a lot of historical events. I was like, oh yeah, the Iran-Contra affair. Yeah, that was, right. And that was so it had just kind of a lot of those. So I appreciated the historical kind of element of this movie that kept me sort of entertained. I also kind of was thinking to myself, okay, when are they going to talk about this, this event that's going to happen? When are they going to talk about? So, I kind of knew things would be coming up, but how, I know the Berlin Wall is going to be a big deal. Like, how are they going to handle that? So I thought that was a little bit interesting. I actually thought that Nancy and Ron had pretty good chemistry.
Ooh, I didn't.
I did. I thought that she was not bad.
Okay.
I thought he was worse than she was.
Oh, she was worse than she.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay, no,
that's
reacting. I just couldn't help it to react that way.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I didn't think she was that bad. I thought, I thought she played that role pretty well. But not great. Okay. I got some ironic enjoyment from this movie, which plays into my score, I feel like, more than it plays into your guys' score often. Kevin Sorbo's in this movie. That's +5. So, you've got Johnny Drama in this movie. That's +5.
Johnny Drama was in there.
You've got Scott Stapp in this movie. That's -50. You got Pat Boone in this movie. That's I don't even know where to go with that one. So, I thought there was just some good ironic fun to be had here. And then the last thing is I'll agree with the sort of period vignettes. I think that was handled pretty well, and there were kind of a lot of them. And for a $25 million budget, I think they were pretty efficient with how they were able to handle all of those vignettes, because there were a lot of them at a lot of different life stages, a lot of different decades, and I thought they did pretty well with that. So, it was I didn't hate it as much as you guys did, but still not great.
That gets me hyped.
Yeah, it does.
And now we're going to have another sound effect because it's time for Marquee Mess.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
There we go.
Cool.
This is where we rename the film.
I have 4 tonight.
4 tonight.
I also have 4.
4.
Look at us.
How many you got?
More than you.
Why don't you go start?
Yeah, I'm starting. Okay,
Yep,
I'll start with I only have one serious one.
I have 0 serious ones.
Okay, well, my serious one is Leading Man.
That's good. I like that. I actually like that a lot.
President. That's great. That's actually really good.
That would have been better.
I like that a lot better as the name for this film.
Oh yeah, that would have been
lot
really
better.
good, solid. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
The rest of them will be much more sophomoric.
Perfect. I got Ronnie's Rough Ride with USSR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Boomer bait.
Boomer Bait. That's a good one. I like that one. How about Ron the American Don? This will disintegrate rapidly. Don't worry.
Good. I like the trajectory.
I got Commander Cowboy. I feel like that would be kind of fun.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Commander Cowboy.
I got National Lampoon's Ronald Reagan.
Good.
Felt like a parody a lot of the time.
How about Horny for America?
I texted you that.
You did? What? Did you? That must have been subconscious.
Well,
thanks, Ben.
Last night I texted you "Horny for America" during.
Look, he got it. Yeah, as he was watching the film.
Honestly,
Amazing.
I didn't do that on purpose, but you can get full credit for that because I'm sure
Amazing.
I subconsciously just was like, yeah, this is a great
incredible.
phrase, and it is.
There's nothing more complimentary of or validating of something you said than for someone else to think they came up with it and liked it.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Well, you didn't come up with this one, Ben. American Boner.
Hell yeah!
Okay,
You're right.
That's what your shirt's called.
that's right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mark. What do you
I
got?
feel kind of Ben. Make a noise or something so you'll know when to cut this because I'm probably going to have to cut this.
Double hot pocket.
I'm not telling you to cut it. I'm saying use your discretion. The man who put all his faith in God and then got Alzheimer's.
It's dark. That's a long title.
That's dark. Mine's a little bit less than that. Free pony rides with Ronnie.
That's a good balance out to the one I
Yeah,
just
I'll help you out. I got you.
How about Hogging Out for America?
Hogging out for America is great.
My last one is old men with shiny red cheeks.
There was a lot of cheeks in this movie.
A lot of cheeks.
So many fake CG cheeks. My last one. This is all I got. Scott Stapp as Frank Sinatra. That's my title.
I'm glad I finally get that joke.
Gosh.
I've got 2 more. So if you guys haven't caught on, all of mine involve America.
Yeah, I love
America,
it. It's great.
America.
Love it.
Very apt.
Yeah, it fits the T.
2 more. Next one is America Fucks.
For sure.
And Ben, this last one's for you.
Okay.
American Ranch Blaster.
Hell yeah.
The OG.
Yeah.
Nice.
Love
cool.
Okay.
Marquee Mess, man. We renamed the heck out of that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we did a pretty good job.
I want to say
no.
leading
Whip.
man. There you go.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
I just want to
There
come
it
back.
is.
Leading man is like maybe the best serious rename of a movie.
Dude,
that I
that's
can remember.
great.
That is
you.
a great.
Yeah, that's really
they
well
should
done.
have taken your note.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys. Well,
6.
maybe next time. All right, this is Critical Mess. We're talking about Reagan. Why are we talking about Reagan? I don't know. Because it's a huge critical fucking mess.
Because
That's
it's
why.
new and it's a
Yeah.
critical mess.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about it. We're sponsored by Old Elk. We're sponsored by Modelo. And now we're moving on to our most reviled segment, the one everyone hates, so we'll make it super fast, and it's called Tharks. And it's about themes and arcs.
Themes and arcs. I had no arcs in this. I had 3 themes.
Wow.
One theme. Again, these are the themes the movie had. These are not things I agree with, but these were the themes of the movie. One man can save a nation and the world. So that's very serious. Ronald Reagan, this movie puts him up there as he is the single-handed savior of
saved America.
Everything.
Yeah, saved the world.
Yep. The next theme, the world needs America to save it, right? So we would have collapsed in a nuclear war. Russia would have taken over, whatever it is, if it wasn't for America coming and saving the world.
Now I have a question about
exceptionalism.
Because it's told from a Russian point of view, correct? Like there's a
which speaks even more into my
fake
point.
Russian person. Like this person doesn't exist. John Voight's character doesn't actually
it's not
exist.
a real person.
It's not a real person.
Right.
And he is telling the story of Ronald Reagan
Right.
facing off against USSR.
Yeah.
So
can you imagine
this,
that?
Yeah, this movie is insane. I don't think we've even talked about it yet, but this movie is narrated by a Russian
spy
that essentially was hired or assigned to find people in the U.S. to infiltrate or research or follow. And his was Ronald Reagan. And then the whole movie is narrated by this Russian.
Yeah, we're going to hot pocket John Voight.
I know we will.
Be a big
John
time.
I'm glad you mentioned that though, because can you believe how backwards that is? Do you understand what's happening here?
And I had a really hard
very
time.
weird.
I really didn't know if this was like Russian propaganda or American propaganda or what.
American.
I'm so confused because I was really like wondering what the.
But what's its view on Russia, though?
Ronald Reagan is presented as a saint and a savior.
Yeah.
And the entire movie is told from the point of view of a Russian.
yes, Russia-
That's saying that Russia thinks that America is the best. I mean, it's so backwards.
Russia is presented as soft and impressionable.
I'm offended for
and-
Russians.
And
Not
and
necessarily,
we,
not necessarily
frankly.
soft and impressionable, but they
I think
felt,
so.
I saw it as like they respected America so much, and I was like, that's not what I remember.
Yeah, a
learning
bunch of
about
soft
Russia.
motherfuckers. That's
And
not what
it's
Russia
It's
is.
revisionist
Like-
history, and it's so backwards that they got away with this. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Propaganda. This is 100% propaganda, this whole movie.
Yeah.
The guy Starks is going real long.
Number 3.
It's going hard.
Yeah.
It's going long.
Hey, Blaine Grizz, he brought up that, but I'm glad he brought it up because that's what needed to be talking. Number 3, faith. This faith is a big theme in this movie. Specifically, everything happens for a reason and is according to God's plan. So this movie really leans into God's behind everything. He's pulling the strings. If something happens, it's because he wanted it to happen. If something doesn't, it's because he doesn't. And that was part of my third marquee mess was, you got Alzheimer's, buddy. Like, I thought God was like helping you.
What's funny is they quote Psalm 23 in this movie, and they cut out a big chunk of it. Like they
I didn't even notice
they
that.
revise
Oh, yeah.
a Bible verse in the movie. Like it's real
They
crazy.
They did cut that.
Like
As we
Holy
talked about,
smokes.
one of the big sins this movie creates is leaving things out. There's a great
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
Those are my 3 themes that I was able to
Pulling
find
the
in this
highlights.
movie.
Cool. We're sorry, everybody.
Moving on.
Run it.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's time for a song. There it is.
sorry, I hit it.
I'm going to sit back and just enjoy my.
All right.
yellow.
Buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, because Kansas is going bye-bye.
This is Brian's Corner.
This is what
This
I
is
was
Brian's Corner.
This is Brian's Corner. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Brian's Corner. You're all in trouble.
That's why I played the buckle your seatbelt.
Popcorn people, you're in trouble. Okay? I love you. You're all people. You all have lives and problems and anxieties, and you're all people, right? But you need to hear me. Okay? I didn't want to come to this. All right? I don't like this. It doesn't feel good to talk to you this way. But I just have to bring this up, and I want to get you guys' take on this. Okay? This is what I was born for. This is it right here. So here's the problem with popcorn people. Okay, popcorn people is the audience on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep.
Real quick, first of all, what's a 5-star movie? Okay, 5 stars being a perfect rating. 5 out of 5 on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, when do you guys rate? So I'm curious. There's not a wrong answer to this. I'm just curious. What makes you rate a movie 5 stars? What makes you go, what's the maximum rating I can give to this movie? And generally, just talk to that a little bit.
I think it comes down to a lot of things for me, but how I feel, how it visually captures me, how it tells a story, how it's cohesive, it has an arc, it has characters, it has build up, it has travesty, it has, redemption, like all those things.
So good. So you recognize the qualities of the film, things that make it. And how often do you rate a movie 5 stars? And also, Nick, this question for you and Ben as well. Like, what makes you give something 5 stars?
I was really enjoying your soliloquy, kind of before you asked the question. I was kind of enthralled with it. And so now I'm lost. Well, no, I'm not. I'm kidding. No, rate a movie 5 stars. I just wanted to compliment you.
Thank you.
I was interested in what you were saying.
And
so I'll respond to your question. So when do I rate a movie 5 stars? So I rate a movie 5 stars. I think a big part of it is something we talk about often on this program is when a movie really makes you feel something. It really emotionally brings you up, it brings you down, it throws you around, it really kind of, it just sparks a lot of emotion. That is kind of a prerequisite of a 5-star film. Also, Steven Seagal is usually an indicator of, something that's going to be rated at a 5-star level. So that's those two things.
I mean, given.
Yeah.
We love you, Stevie.
How often would you say, maybe you don't go rate movies?
I'll give you an example. On Letterboxd, now that I've started to rate all my films again on Letterboxd out of the 5-star ratings, out of the 500 films I have rated, there were 8 that I gave 5 out of 5.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear.
8 films out of 500 that I gave 5 out of 5.
Yeah, it's a rarity. It's something that probably hard. You give, 1 out of every 50 movies?
Out of every,
something.
I've got
almost 100,
24 out of 800 movies.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
so what's that?
Yeah.
That's
it's 1 out of
it's like 2.5% or something like that.
Yeah.
Or no, it's not. It's a little more than that. 5%. Yours is less than 5%.
Yeah, it's small.
I don't think you do Letterboxd, but like earlier,
I'm sure
you
it'd be right around you guys.
Yeah, you mentioned The Fifth Element, and to me, Fifth Element would probably be a 5-star movie.
Yeah.
There's very rare. Starship Troopers is a 5-star movie to me. I have rated almost 1,700 movies on Letterboxd, and I've got 75 stars. Okay. So I guess the thing there is some people are going to have more, some people are going to have less, but bottom line is you're rating the movie the maximum you can possibly rate it. You're not saying it's your favorite movie, but you're saying this is the best movies get.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a reason there's a 4.5. It's for all the movies that aren't quite there, right? Okay, so thank you guys. I needed that set up to give context to this next metric that I'm going to read to you. I did a deep dive on the popcorn people on this movie, okay? I went back and specifically did analysis on the last 100 audience reviews on this movie. Now, that was as of 2 days ago. So now if you were to go look, it might be slightly different, although I'm sure the numbers will be the same. I went back 200 just to make sure the most recent 100 weren't like an outlier. 200 was the same. Here's your numbers for the last 100 audience ratings. Keep in mind, we've all said 5 stars are very rare, okay? There were 8.5 stars out of 100. So 8 people hated it, gave it the lowest score you can, okay? There were 73 5-star reviews of the last 100. 73 of 100 5 stars. Perfect movie, right?
That seems low, because isn't it 98%?
Well, 73 of 100.
Well, all they had to do was rate it a 3 or higher.
And then that, of course, right.
3 people gave it a 4.5. 11 people gave it a 4. So you have 84, 85, 87 of the last 100 gave it a 4 or higher. Nobody gave it a 2. Nobody gave it a 2.5. Nobody gave it a 1.5. There was one person that gave it a 3. Of 100 people, one.
What an exceptional person.
Gave it a 3. And then one gave it a 3.5. That was it. There's 2 people out there. And I read the reviews and they're very thoughtful. But that, you guys, that is 2%.
Yeah.
Okay? So I wanted to bring that up because I wanted to say, okay, how in the world could a movie get so universally ranked as perfect? 3 reasons, guys. These are the following 3 reasons why popcorn people rated this movie so highly, and they're the wrong reasons to rate a movie. Okay? Just listen up. You need to hear this. All right? Number 1, people rated this movie 5 stars because they agreed with it. You guys agreed with this movie, which I don't know what that means to agree with a movie, but they all agreed with the movie, which means they loved Ronald Reagan as a president. They were Republicans, or they were Christians. Okay, those are the main themes of this movie, and I'm not assuming that. I read the reviews, and those are the reasons that they rated it. Right? Not a good. To me, art is meant to be is not meant to be agreed with. Art is meant to be like experienced. What do you guys think about that?
Agree.
Yeah.
Okay. The second reason people rated this 5 stars. They were reacting to something other than the movie. Okay, you guys know who you are. You're the ones that were reacting to the critics. Because you wrote in your review, I can't believe the critics gave it XYZ 5 stars, perfect movie. Or the liberal left's agenda, yada, yada, 5 stars. Or the other one, and this is why I'm glad you read the audience review you read, the candidates today, they didn't name names, but we know they're talking about Trump and Harry, whoever the candidates are, candidates today are so, Ronald Reagan was a, breath of fresh air, 5 stars, okay? You can go back and read what you wrote. You know what you wrote. And the third reason people rated this movie so highly is that they enjoyed it. They enjoyed it. No. That sounds innocuous, right? But so a lot of people were saying this is historically accurate, right? They were calling it a documentary. People were nostalgic. Remember the 80s? Remember the Reagan era, right? They were going there. Or they were very patriotic, okay? And to me, that's the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about today is because we've talked about this a lot before. I've asked you guys how much of your rating is due to how much you enjoy the movie. And you even mentioned that recently tonight, Nick. You said, I weighed my enjoyment probably more than you guys did. It's fine, whatever. But I did want to talk about enjoyability versus evaluation. That's the heart of what Brian's Corner is, this long-ass soapbox of Brian's Corner. But I think it's really important, and it's the whole crux of this podcast. So what do you guys think about enjoyability versus evaluation? Like how much of your rating has to do with just because you're talking about feeling something? I think feeling something is a little different from enjoyability.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I skew more toward enjoyability over craft. I do. Both are very important to me.
Yeah, I think it's hard because I feel like I was being force-fed a lot of things in this film that made me not feel great. So it's just one of those things, not a personal choice. It just felt very heavy-handed and very simplistic, very, I don't know, it's just hard for me to get behind something that felt that intense.
This was a movie, it didn't make you do any work. It didn't give you any credit.
No, it was very simple.
It didn't give you any credit as
yeah.
having intelligence.
Yeah.
And frankly, I'm okay with that. Because once again, I'm stupid.
No.
So that's okay with me for the film to treat me that way. Like I'm
Don't talk about it, you.
As our house copywriter,
it's hurting me. It's abusing me. And I'm okay with it.
In case any of you popcorn people are lost, I'll close out Brian's Corner tonight by giving some examples across other mediums of art.
Please do it in a Russian accent.
Yes. Or the NPR voice.
I still can't remember how I did that.
Brian, it's just really kind of soft and it just kind of, you enunciate really well.
You want to be.
You really just want to enunciate the words.
Vocabulary is just.
I'll try to bring that out tonight, but I'm not sure if it's this next thing I'm about to read here.
It's usually about when you talk about what's in Brian's Corner. Like we've got this, and we've got smoothies.
It's a very
tonight.
Bob Ross comforting voice.
Yeah.
I'll try.
We'll put you in the mindset.
I'll try to bring it out at some point. I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time, but have you guys ever had a Reese cup? Reese peanut butter cup?
Yes.
Kind of red-blooded Americans never had a Reese cup.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna go against you guys. I'm not a fan of chocolate or peanut butter, especially not combined.
But you've had it.
Okay, bad example.
I have had it.
I tried to think of something that pretty much everybody loves,
but most everybody does enjoy it. I get it
because a lot of people are allergic to peanut butter. I'm sorry if you're allergic to peanut butter, but let's just my question there is: do you enjoy it? When you eat a Reese's peanut butter cup, do you enjoy it?
Yeah. You enjoy a hot bath? I mean, yeah.
Exactly.
I won't say whether I enjoy it.
If you were a food critic, how would you rate a Reese's peanut butter cup?
Not great.
If you were served a Reese's peanut butter cup at a Michelin restaurant,
I'm in the minority.
What would you say? You go, this is all processed food made in a factory of very,
but what if
very
it was
low
like, you're saying it was actually the product made by, it's not like a handmade artisan peanut butter cup.
No, handmade like chocolates.
It's not a peanut butter cup.
I get where you're going with
this. Reese peanut butter cup.
Yeah, it's taken out of the package, the orange package, and set on your
plate. Put on the plate, yeah.
Low quality, high enjoyment. What about some kind of like super, what's the kind of steak they make in Japan? Kobe beef or something like that?
Wagyu.
Okay.
This guy.
Would you
vegan?
Would you say high quality? Would you say high quality there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who wouldn't? Right? Okay. Because you're evaluating the thing on its own merit. I'm a fucking vegan, and I would still rate that high quality. Okay, I would not let my agenda or my morals come in and go,
this guy.
That's low quality. I would say I don't enjoy that.
Would you eat it though?
Would you eat it?
I would eat it.
Have you had eaten it in the past?
I don't know if I've had exactly that, but I've had steaks that are fucking amazing, right? And I'm not gonna lie to myself or anyone else. I'm gonna say, as a vegan, I don't enjoy that for a lot of reasons, but I'm gonna rate that highly. Okay, let's talk about music, right? What about 21 Pilots, right? 21 Pilots. You guys familiar with 21 Pilots?
Yeah, absolutely.
Stone Temple Pilots?
Yes.
21 Pilots.
21
Pilots. Is that the spinoff?
No.
Then I don't know.
Okay, if you've got kids, you know 21 Pilots.
Yep.
No offense, 21 Pilots. It's not high quality music. It's It's not bad, but it's just not for the highbrow. Pitchfork's going to give these, low ratings, right? What about the Rolling Stones? Okay. I don't like the Rolling Stones. I hate to say it. I've never liked the Rolling Stones. I like about 4 of their songs, but I have never said the Rolling Stones are not a good band because I recognize their contributions to music, their quality, yada yada. You get where I'm going with this?
Yeah. And what about Nickelback?
So Nickelback,
Creed.
Creed.
What did not dare you?
Fucking thing. Come on.
I've got a playlist.
Great example.
How dare you?
I'm proud that I got that
dare
wrong.
you?
Proud.
Would listen to it and love it. Michael Bolton. I like Michael Bolton. I would enjoy Michael Bolton. Not going to say it's high quality, right? Music's tough though, but you get my drift, right?
Yeah, I get it.
One more, art. Okay, let's talk about somebody like Frida Kahlo, right? You guys familiar? I'm not some kind of pretentious art person, but Frida Kahlo. There was a movie made about her. She makes this really interesting, very. There's a lot of. I'm losing words, but her artwork has a lot of symbolism, and it's very, very beautiful. It's unique. There's no one else like her. There's so much going on in her artwork. I'd never have one of her paintings on my wall because I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good or look good. But I would say I would never say she's not a good artist.
You respect it.
Oh, I more than respect it. I say that's very high quality, and I would look at all the reasons as to why, because there's a metric in which you grade art. What about AI art? Have you guys ever seen AI art? It's cursed.
Yeah.
Okay. Fucking love AI art. April and I will sit up there and we will put AI art like cozy cabins on the TV, and we'll look at and we'll find all the cursed things that are like wrong.
Yeah.
I highly enjoy that. I enjoy that looking at that much more than it. See, do you get where I'm going with enjoyability versus evaluation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in case I haven't hammered the point home far enough, let's do movies. You guys remember Half Baked?
Yeah, I think so.
Check out Half Baked. It's a previous episode. It's a great one. I don't remember any of it, but I hear it was good.
Ryan was fully baked.
I have full photo evidence of this.
A couple of us were fully baked. I enjoyed that. I enjoy that movie so much, but I rated it low. I gave it low quality, and I gave all the reasons for that. Alternatively, 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's a movie. I don't enjoy that movie. I've seen the movie. I don't enjoy it. Yeah, thanks. But I would never, in a million years, look at somebody and go, yeah, 2001: A Space Odyssey, not a good movie. It doesn't make any sense because it is a good movie because we're grading it on a rubric and on a metric.
Yeah.
I went on that whole tangent. Sorry, Mike.
Calm down.
How's the neck vein doing?
Neck vein's coming out.
To exemplify my point of enjoyability being, in my opinion, not a reason in and of itself to rate a movie 5 stars. And that was the third reason why Popcorn People did it. You know who you are. If you enjoyed the movie and you rated it 5 stars only for that fact, stop it. Get some help. Don't do that. Okay?
Was that Michael Jordan?
That was Michael Jordan.
Stop it. Get some help.
Get some help.
Yeah. It's like Dare.
My final sentence on Brian's Corner. Honestly, nobody cares if you enjoyed the movie. I'm sorry. People care if it was a good movie or if they're going to enjoy it. So please rate the movie based on the widely accepted, agreed upon rubrics and metrics that we use when we grade movies, i.e. the craft and the quality of the film. Thank you, everybody, for joining me on Brian's Corner. And now...
3, 2, 1.
Oh. Well, normally Nick says, and now...
Yeah, no, that's why I'm leading him in.
And now, it's time for Hot Pocket.
The best segment
That's right.
of the show.
That's the segment where we talk about all the random shit we haven't talked about yet or talk about in more detail. So, here we go. Rawhide. Rawhide. Oh, sorry. Pepperoni pizza. Rawhide. Mm-hmm. Rawhide. I want to talk about Rawhide. It seems like a weird code name for the president. It doesn't seem like
Reagan.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Really
I was so excited for that to come in.
Really good. Really good. Not so flattering. Rawhide?
No,
I mean, come
rawhide.
on, guys. Any thoughts on Rawhide?
What does that even mean? Is that something a dog chews on? Is that like a...
I mean, it is now, but back in 1980, what?
1?
0?
80?
4? Yeah.
It could be anything.
Could have been anything.
I don't know. I just thought rubbed me the wrong way. Rawhide. The president needs a cooler name than Raw. He should be like the Eagle.
Ronnie.
Eagle 1. Yeah.
Eagle 1. Something
Yeah.
With a helmet.
Anyway, okay. We'll keep it moving. There's a lot of Pizza Hot Pockets, right? A lot of Pizza Hot Pockets. And I think now we can just maybe move to a 4 cheese.
Hot Pocket.
And I want to talk about some of the cinematography, some of the camera work. I want to talk about some of the weird blurrings and the weird zooms and the slow-mo and the strange thing. It was very, and I think as we referenced earlier, it's a bit hallmarky in kind of how the filters and the kind of the
Production
softness,
value.
right? The softness of the kind of the lens focus. And I just want to talk, Grizz, talk about it because there was a lot going on there.
There was a lot going on visually in this movie. I think after doing a very minimal amount of research on how they shot this, it was shot, I'm guessing 2019, 2020. So right around COVID time, they may have had reshoots somewhere in 2020. Mm-hmm. So they probably had an insane amount of difficulties trying to get that to be, done well and done in a timely manner within the COVID restrictions. So I think a lot of those things, I was just watching, Ben and I were just watching like Spider-Man Far From Home. Mm-hmm. And like there's a lot of those moments in that film as well but it was very well done because they had a huge budget, hundreds of $millions. So this movie, it looked like when you see that huge vignette or that huge softness around somebody, that usually means they tried to fake some type of green screen background and they tried to fake it in. And there was a lot of that in this movie. There was a lot of CG on faces to de-age and stuff like that. But I think the weirdness, you feel it. Like when you're watching a film, you feel it and you can see it. Like, there's an awkwardness or a weirdness to these films. And I think that's just one of the sacrifices we had to take for 2020 time frame.
There's a lot of light bloom around faces to make it look more CG or less CG. I did some research. Christian Sebald is the cinematographer, the DP. He also DP'd, guess what? House on the Haunted Hill, Suicide Kings, and Resident Evil Apocalypse.
Nice.
Of course.
So
okay.
I thought I wanted Nick to know that.
Pretty on brand.
And that's important for me to know.
I would have been shocked if those were good movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, you've got a 4 cheese pizza. You've also got a 5 cheese pizza. So did we determine what that 5th cheese was?
Yeah, I think
this was a rigatoni.
Ben read them all.
Sorry, the rigatoni's the noodle. Damn it! Deja vu. I always think the rigatoni is the cheese. It's the noodle. Ricotta.
Ricotta.
That's what I'm looking for.
Ricotta.
Reduced fat.
There were 2 reduced fat cheeses in there.
There were 2 reduced
which I was surprised about. Good on you, Hot Pocket. Good on you.
I mean,
buddy.
that's a lot of cheese. You gotta cut it down a little bit. Yeah.
So for this 5 cheese, I want to talk about the shooting, which kind of happened at the start of the film. A couple things about the shooting that I think are notable. First of all, we gotta bring up that brrr sound effect, right? That happens right after you get shot. It's like the most cliched movie trailer sound effect, like that. It's just that sine wave, brrr,
sort of like slowing down. Time.
Right.
Let's slow down and retell the story from the beginning.
To see that,
how important this scene.
Exactly, and to see that in 2004, that was like, okay, that's kind of an interesting thing to do. In 2024, it's like
it's tough.
That's kind of weird. Yeah. But here's something else about that scene that I thought was interesting. So a lot of times in a film, you're going to have kind of an opening that is, it'll be like the climax of the movie, right? And you'll call back to it with maybe 20 minutes left in the film or 15 minutes left in the film.
Didn't do it here.
That's pretty common. But here, I don't know if I've ever seen this before.
Nope.
It started with this very intense event that you assumed would be like the last 15 minutes or happen.
It would have the callback to that moment.
Right, but it happened like right in the middle, which was just very odd. It just seemed like it just was strange. I don't even know that it was like super terrible or anything, but I've never really seen that before.
The pacing just seemed really strange for a lot of things, but that was one of those.
It was disjointed. I mean, it was put together wrong, and the climax of the movie, instead of being that, which it should have been, was Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, and everyone cheers for 20 minutes. And that was the climax, is him saying that. He just said something. Do we realize the climax of this movie is Ronald Reagan saying a sentence? You tell me another movie where the climax of the movie is someone saying a sentence.
What about The Notebook? What do you want?
What do you want? Yeah.
I mean, I would argue the climax of that movie is when she remembers her past, and he, you know what I mean? That's what hits you. It's the end of the movie. But point taken.
What do you want?
What do you want? What do you want?
Okay.
Touche. You found another example.
Now we're moving on to a Philly steak and cheese. There's a lot of cheese early on.
So much cheese.
I mean, there should be. I mean, come on. Cheese is
the prime factor in any ingredient. Yeah.
So I want to talk about there are a couple things wrapped into this hot pocket. So I generally want to talk about kind of the opening credits, but also just the kind of the propaganda nature of this film in general, because I think the opening credits really kind of sum that up nicely. Yep. The whole sort of commies taking over. Sort of the opening, like I was surprised when I saw the opening, like how hard it went on, like the Russians are coming, the Ruskies are taking over, like what a threat, an imminent threat. Like I didn't realize the movie would be so heavily focused on that, which I thought was interesting. And then I also thought it was interesting how do you notice when the director's name, what was his name? McNamara, how just the A-bomb goes off right when his name comes on screen. And I don't know if that was like ironic, like was he trying to say this movie is a big bomb?
Well, let's put ourselves in the mindset of boomers and people who, were teenagers or adults during the Reagan. I mean,
18,
can you honestly,
19, 20 years old at that time.
Yeah, all joking aside, can you imagine what it would have been like to been an adult in the Cold War? I mean,
intense.
Good Lord, like that. Like I can't imagine what that's like. Similarly, I can't imagine what World War II is like. I mean, there's these things that we can't imagine. We didn't.
Not an adult. Yeah, they were 18, 19 years old. I mean, that's young for that kind of a happening.
And I think that this is appealing to that because, I think that's the way that they were experiencing the world, rightly so. I think at that time, and so I don't want to take away from the movie for that. And but I think it's shocking to us, people like us, the next generation, because it's like, whoa, that's very heavy-handed. So, yeah, I agree with you.
How do you feel like it handled the JFK Cold War situation?
I thought it glossed over it. It showed at the beginning, and that's
glossed over it, right?
Like it glossed over everything. The Screen Actors Guild stuff, that was a whole movie.
Yeah.
But no.
That's the thing. It showed so many different things.
Remember this? Remember that? Remember this?
Yeah, it was too much.
It was never. It was never like settling on anything. And
So I want to concentrate really on the name of this Hot Pocket because I think it really sums up what we're going to talk about. Ham and cheese.
You're right. Oh, that's great. Good job. Good job.
That could have been a good title. Ham and cheese.
Yeah. We're going to talk about Jon Voight.
Oh man.
Gosh,
So
guys, there's so much to unpack here. There's so much to unpack.
God love him.
First of all, I didn't even know he was in this movie until he popped up as the Russian guy. Like, what the fuck?
Russian guy.
I don't even know where.
It wasn't too bad though.
I wrote accent ? No in my notes. So
it faded in and out.
It kind of went in and out.
Compared to everyone else.
Well, the bar was low.
Yeah.
The bar was low.
Also, how many slides does this motherfucker have? Like, he just kept showing slideshow.
He had the whole thing.
He had personal life moments.
I'm glad young journalist. You
Reagan went to the toilet once.
Have some vodka and sit down for the next 3 hours. I will give you a slideshow of Ronald Reagan.
How do you get slideshows of him being a lifeguard?
Yeah, right.
All the way to the Cold War.
It's a true ham and cheese. and I feel like also got just the de-aging on him in particular was. It felt like a horror movie. It was
a lot of those.
Sometimes his head was like floating in a way that a little off the shoulders.
His head was kind of egg shaped too. He had this little chin strap beard going with the rosy red cheeks.
I actually can't tell if they did prosthetics plus CG to try to, and maybe it would have been both. But if you notice, a lot of those scenes were darkly lit in a dark room. I think they were trying to hide a lot of those things for the budget, which that's fine, but. Yeah, it was very noticeable. You can see it right.
You know what it reminded me of was Jack Nicholson in the Joker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the real big smile with
smiles,
the
I didn't
cheeks and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you guys want to talk about Jon Voight's pencil at all?
What? Which one?
Guys, did anyone watch Seinfeld?
This is a sexual joke?
Jeez.
Oh, yeah. Wait, no. It wasn't Jon Voight's pencil. It was Jon Voight's car.
No, remember his pencil. He chewed on the pencil.
So they thought it was his car.
And then he goes to Dr. Tim Watley to examine the teeth marks on the pencil to see if it was the Jon Voight's.
Yeah.
Man, I guess I'm the only one that watched
No, you're right.
No idea.
You're totally right. I was thinking it was just the car. Yeah.
Yeah, no, was his LeBaron, yes.
Yeah, good job.
Yes,
that's great.
Was that the... Oh, wait, hang on.
Are we still in ham and cheese?
No, we're out. We're out.
We're out.
We're out of the ham and cheese. Chicken.
Cool. We'll build on that. Go from chicken and build on it.
And I wrote...
chicken.
And is that the chick from American Pie, speaking of chicken?
Mina Savari, yes.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
And I saw that and I just said, I wonder what she's been up to.
Nick,
Yes.
I am a notable Mina Suvari hater.
Why?
I feel I feel okay.
Wow.
Let me back up a second.
Jesus.
I don't hate her as a person. I don't like
Her acting.
her face or her acting.
Every time I see her face, I want to get punchy.
I wish her the best. She's prettier than I am. A lot of people don't like my face. Don't say you do if you don't. It's fine. You should be able to say you don't. I don't like her face or her.
Oh.
Here's how bad this movie was. She was the best fucking part of this movie. She's my least favorite actress. That I should have led with that.
Yeah. What?
I don't know what I was thinking. She was fine. She was great.
You remember her in American Pie? Wasn't she she was kind of the main dude's? No,
she was American
not.
Beauty. American Beauty.
The side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was the main girl. American
Beauty.
American Beauty.
She's in a lot of America movies.
Yeah.
She loves America.
She loves it.
She was very good.
And we
in American
respect
Beauty.
that.
If you rearrange her letters of her name, Mira Savari, it spells
It
America.
spells loving America, right?
Just
Something
try
like
it.
that. Just try it. Anyway, beef taco. Kevin Sorbo. Let's talk about Kevin
Beef
Sorbo.
taco, hell
Did you
yeah.
guys watch Hercules?
No, but I know who you're talking about.
Hercules.
Nope.
No.
Moving on.
Please do.
I'm so sorry. Hey, he hasn't seen the one movie.
Get out of here, Idiocracy.
He hasn't seen that one movie. Yeah.
There's more that Chris hasn't seen.
Deflecting.
Yeah. Deflect. Yeah.
So now I've heard that Hot Pocket actually they have a proprietary barbecue recipe for
their own recipe.
for the beef. I don't know
Barbecue
if the
beef.
chicken has the proprietary
No, it
kind of
doesn't have
barbecue
the,
sauce.
It doesn't have the same flavor.
But the beef is
I bet it's
proprietary.
delicious.
It probably is.
It's got to be.
You'll never know.
We'll never know. No, we will know. I'll know.
I could know if I wanted to.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. I want to talk about young Reagan and what a boss. What a boss he was.
Lifeguard?
What an infallible. Can we go down the list?
Child or lifeguard?
I'm talking about
Yeah.
like youthful, like teenage Reagan.
Teenage Reagan.
Teenage Reagan.
Teenage Reagan. Okay.
Now let's go through the list here. Right, lifeguard.
Lifeguard Reagan.
And how many lives did he save? Thousands, millions.
Lots, many.
I mean, he kept track on the
a lot of
On the
log.
log. Yeah, all the log.
yeah, there were hundreds on that
And
log.
sometimes he would just pull a cantankerous old man out that didn't need saving.
Didn't
Apparently,
save.
But remember, he said that most of them were girls who he didn't actually wasn't. They were fake drowning because
right.
he was
So
hot.
most of the people he saved, it was fake.
Yeah.
So he didn't really save.
Still,
anyone.
that's even cooler.
He still notched them on that log.
I would argue that saving somebody because they think you're hot and they want you to come save them is even more heroic than saving someone's actual life.
That's fair.
But which is
Not heroic,
but it's
but
kind of wild.
baller.
It's kind of wild that they would say that.
Yeah,
you know what I
it's like,
mean?
I'm
A little bit. A little bit. Yeah.
Football star.
Yeah,
Football star.
activist.
Civil rights activist.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
I was
That's the
guessing.
word.
There it is. Dancer. Dance machine.
He was a dancer. He was a dancer.
Got the
Footloose.
moves.
Footloose.
Radio host.
Oh, had a good voice for radio. Had a face for radio.
Great voice. Oh,
That's
face
why
for
I'm off
sure.
camera.
Yeah. You don't want to see his face, folks.
I don't belong on camera either.
And just an all-around stud.
Merca.
The ladies couldn't get enough.
Yeah.
I mean, he was...
I actually thought the actor who played him as a teenager was great. He was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Barbecue beef.
I thought that was beef taco.
No,
that was barbecue beef.
Beef
Yeah,
taco
we're talking
was.
about-
Sorry, guys. Oh yeah, that's right. Sorbo.
Yeah.
Big boy Sorbo. We moved
We
past
moved
that
on. We
quickly.
moved past that. Nick scarfed down his beef taco, and we.
Yeah.
Okay, this is another perfect one. Cheeseburger. And let's talk about our boy Johnny Drama. I can't believe he was
boy.
in this.
I
couldn't
had
take it
no
seriously.
idea.
I was like, this is. I'm watching Entourage, a clip from Entourage where
Yeah.
he's playing a character as a. It was.
He was Johnny Drama in this movie.
He was Johnny Drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hair and makeup might have been the best on him.
Yeah.
Of all characters, honestly.
What were you saying?
Thanks for calling on me, teacher. Who the fuck is Johnny Drama?
Oh, you didn't watch Entourage?
No.
Entourage,
okay.
HBO show.
So
I know what
the
Entourage
the
is.
The
I didn't watch it on purpose.
He played the brother.
The WB executive.
Okay, so he's just
Where
he's an actor.
He's
in
Mr.
that
Warner.
thing.
He's Mr. Warner.
Warner, yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
I'll do research off cam. Just wanted to.
No, don't.
Who was
don't,
he on this
don't.
movie though? Can you tell me who he was?
Just some.
Yeah.
He was Mr. Warner. He was
Mr. Warner.
the head of the
Like
studio.
head
Who
of the
fuck is
studio.
Mr. Oh, okay.
He
Yeah.
came into the
beginning.
courtroom or something like
Yeah.
that, or inside
He had
the...
a few. He wasn't a huge role.
He wasn't
but-
a huge.
No.
Yeah.
Kevin
He's in a
Dillon?
few- Kevin Dillon. Matt Dillon's
Yeah,
brother.
Matt Dillon. Yeah.
Thanks. So his name's Kevin Dillon.
Kevin Dillon, that's
Thank
right,
you.
Kevin Dillon. But
Okay,
it's Johnny
got it. I'm
Drama.
with
But
you.
yeah.
Johnny Drama is his stage.
So he's kind of known for Johnny Drama.
Yeah. Yes, known absolutely. That's it. That's one and only
one role.
Yeah.
But the irony. I just toss my pen. Good gracious. Thanks to our sponsor.
Got all heated during Johnny Drama.
So the thing, the thing is
earlier.
that you need to know about this is like he's a notoriously bad actor in the show that gets like bit parts. It's like exactly like this movie. Like he's gonna play some like weird studio executive for like 2 scenes, and that's like exactly who he is in the show. He's like some actor that takes bit parts that like can't quite break through. Anyway,
yes, sir.
And then he takes a bit part in this scene in this movie.
I can't believe we spent all this time
it's
talking
just so
about Johnny
like
Drama.
Very accurate. Let's talk more about Matt Dillon's brother. I think the Dillon brothers are great actors.
More about Matt Dillon's brother.
Okay, no, we'll move on to that was a cheeseburger.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How about there's so much cheese, sausage, egg, and cheese with the croissant crust.
I like how you said that with the croissant.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And this is a quote I pulled from the American Pie girl that I thought was a really, really strong quote. Is there anything worse than an actor with a cause? And the answer is no.
Oh, yeah. She's kind of right.
No.
I didn't catch that.
There's literally nothing worse. Can you name anything worse than that?
Nobody cares what you think about the world, actor. Just dance on stage, monkey. I know. When you're giving your Oscar speech, tell me something funny or interesting. Don't tell me about global warming.
I think it's a popcorn person with a cause. I think that's the only thing worse.
Popcorn people.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Thanks for bringing that back around.
I guess like genocide is worse. I don't know. There are things
duh.
Yeah, well,
way to bring us all back down to earth.
Is pretty rough. It's pretty rough. Gosh. So we're going to move on to some big and bold flavors. The first one we're going to talk about is buffalo chicken.
Hell yeah.
And when Reagan started doing the endorsements, I'm like, I really like, okay, let's just talk about what he was endorsing. He's endorsing soft pretzels, ices, cigarettes.
Icy.
Like, I'm like, this guy is fucking cool. I like this guy. He's endorsing all the good stuff.
It was at this moment I was really wondering if this was a comedy.
I can see that.
This was the moment because it was right around a quarter mark.
Very comedic.
1/3 mark.
It was early on. I did think it was funny. The things that it's always funny to go back and look at ads from 50 years ago.
Oh, I mean, we're in the ad business. Yeah, I mean, I think it's hilarious.
It's like, oh my gosh, we were advertising.
And they super like low budgeted that segment. If you were, it was just kind of like
they
this,
shot
like,
that in one
pastel background,
right?
where it was just like alternating between him holding a different product. They didn't like try
different outfit.
Yeah, I would have given this movie a lot of credit if they would have like shot the different commercials and like cut to those.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
That would have been cool. That would have been very expensive.
That would have been a multi-day shoot for sure.
Yes. Okay, we're still big and bold. We're going to move on to steak nacho. And I think that I want to discuss just the performance of Reagan. You know, just this Quaid's performance as Reagan. I want to talk about the accent. I want to talk about just kind of the de-aging with him. We already talked about Voight's de-aging. You know, did he do well in this role? Did he carry Ronald Reagan? And I will start by saying I thought his performance was not the best performance in the movie. I like Nancy better. I'm sorry. I know, Brian. I know
I
that
can
hurts.
see that. I can see why you say that.
I could see that too.
Because she showed a lot of emotion in comparison to Reagan.
There was a lot, a lot of range on her.
There was more range.
Are you fucking serious?
I felt Ron they were both pretty hammy, but he was more hammy, and I thought that accent was.
Don't get me wrong. It wasn't good.
No,
we're not saying it was good.
Yeah.
We're
saying
she showed more range than he did.
She showed nothing. Her and Ronald Reagan were so terrible. Oh my God, you guys! I cannot believe we watched the same movie. I had written half my notes were about their conversations not being accurate in whatsoever. Did you see them in the canoe talking? That's not how married couples talk. That's
dialogue.
Talks.
What? You know, I'm talking.
What do you mean?
Do you remember the time? Do you remember when she goes? Hang on. I got it right here. Gentlemen. Instead of cramming his head with and that's not even as crazy as she did it. Instead of cramming his head with useless numbers, why don't you let Ronnie be Ronnie? Okay, that's not dynamic range. That's ham and cheese and cheeseburger and ham and cheese. That's terrible. That's ridiculous. She was not good at all. Top 5 worst things of this movie is one of them is definitely those two actors right there. Every fucking word they say in this movie is terrible. So
every word.
No,
she was giving me Glenn Close vibes.
No,
I think she needs an Oscar.
She was horrendous. She was cringe in every way.
An Oscar. That's so nice.
Did we do chicken bacon ranch yet?
Chicken bacon ranch.
We haven't gotten close to chicken bacon ranch.
No. All right, let's talk about smoking. There's some smoking in this.
There is smoking.
GPCs.
Somehow this movie made smoking look not that cool.
No, it wasn't cool at all.
What the fuck? How was that even possible?
Guys, what are the movies we've talked about that made smoking look fucking awesome?
Every movie that has smoking except this one.
Maestro. What else? What do we got?
My girl Rachel Weisz on Enemy at the Gates. The
Enemy at
hottest
the Gates?
smoking I've ever seen.
Yeah,
you're right. They had sexy smoking.
We have the 80s.
Look at how bad this is.
Smoking.
Let's make smoking
Look
cool.
at how bad this is.
Oh, is this so for if you're listening, we're watching the scene with
this,
or
look,
if you're watching
look at how
because you also
bad
can't see
that cut is
wow, that's
between
bad.
the two.
It's the debate. We're watching the debate between Ronald Reagan for his second presidency term. I don't know who he's debating. The guy from Minnesota, right?
He turned the tide.
Very bad. It's
and
very
then,
bad.
like the CGI is just so bad. Sorry,
Yeah,
that was one of the most egregious CGI inserts that I've ever seen in my.
There's a
life.
lot of bad CGI in this.
Also,
guys.
sorry, I won't
real
get
quick,
into
but before
planes.
we forget, we all gave our ratings. I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but Ben, do you mind? You don't have to.
What did you give it, Brian?
Do you mind?
What'd you give it?
Well, I gave it a 5.
I gave it a 5 as well.
Do you mind telling people what you gave this movie?
I gave it a 1.
And what's the reason for that?
Because it had a semblance of a movie.
So good.
Still higher than the lowest grade I've ever given a movie.
All right, sorry, I just wanted to make sure we visited that because
it felt like a collection of scenes, and it never once felt coherent or in any way good. It just was very all over the place, tonally, everything you guys have said. I appreciated that it was a movie and that there are actors in it and that people did their jobs. That's about it.
And that'll get you more than 0. So okay, cool. Yeah. What are we on next? What's our next?
Well, we've done bacon, egg, and cheese. We've done bacon, egg, and cheese, but have we done it with the hot honey? I don't think we have.
No,
oh
we
my
haven't.
gosh, no.
With the hot honey.
That
And this
sounds
one,
delicious.
This one's for us. This one's selfish.
Let's do it.
This movie talks about a place that's very near and dear to us, Indiana.
Yeah.
Brings up Indiana a few times.
Yeah.
And I bet there's very few films that reference Indiana. I mean, Indiana Jones notwithstanding, but like the state of Indiana specifically, probably not a super common,
Hoosier.
I don't
know what this
reference in films. We're from Indiana, and this film talks about Indiana, so I kind of appreciated that.
Yeah,
I give it like 2 points for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also interesting that Indiana was a battleground state.
Also interesting.
Like that was
that's
kind of the
crazy back in the
weirdest thing.
80s.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing at one time.
No clue.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
So this one, guys, we talk about from time to time, there have been flavors that have been discontinued. And it's tough to talk about. We've talked about ham and cheese. There used to be a ham, egg, and cheese.
My God.
My God.
Hey, wait a minute. That's for the Matrix.
And I want to talk about for this ham, egg, and cheese. I just thought the way this movie clowned Jimmy Carter was just kind of funny. And I also think it's funny that Jimmy Carter's still alive, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like he's got the last laugh.
He's going.
Like, you want to make fun of him, like that's fine, but like he's still alive, bro. You've been dead for a while. So, anyways, I just thought it was funny though how it was kind of like it was a owning the libs for the boomers.
I feel like what you just set up there. Do you remember that YouTube channel, Epic Rap Battles of History? Epic Rap Battles. I feel like you just set up like a Ronald Reagan versus Jimmy Carter. I want to see that one. They might have that. I don't know.
Okay, so now we're still in breakfast flavors. I feel like this one's still available, but it's probably like kind of a limited edition. It's probably when you're gonna have to scour the various Myers and Walmarts and
Well, like we do for Old Oak.
We're used to that. Exactly.
yeah.
But it's the Applewood bacon, egg, and cheese.
That sounds so good.
So you got that Applewood bacon as part of it. Premium source bacon, I'm
for sure. Yeah.
I want to talk about, there was a lot of old TV cameras in this movie. And I'm just kind of fascinated by these gigantic old boxy cameras from 1980 that they shot TV. And I don't know, Grizz, talk about this. You're the camera guy. They're these huge ancient cameras, and I will say this movie I thought did a really good job of representing those that look like the cameras from 1980.
I am no expert on this, but I mean, I know film was a big deal, obviously, back in the 80s. So these things are massive. We even know that IMAX film cameras are just huge, loud machines. I can't even imagine 30, 40 years before us, 50 years before us, and how insanely complex these machines would be back then. Ben, I'm sure you can talk to this.
Ben recommended
days.
Woman of the Hour yesterday. I watched that, and that had some really cool like close-ups of this of like what's going on with those big cameras from the 70s.
That was a better period piece than this. But yeah,
the big cameras are cool.
Yeah, the big cameras are cool.
Yeah,
they would be loud. Not necessarily on a TV set though.
Yep.
No, not so much. Yeah,
sure. Big and bold Buffalo Chicken. I just feel like Tip O'Neill is a cool name.
That's pretty cool.
Tip O'Neill?
I think more kids should be named Tip.
Almost any name is funny if it's a one syllable first name and the last name starts with O apostrophe or Mick something.
You're 100% on
right?
something there.
Troy McClure, Tip O'Neill, probably others.
Trip McNeely.
It's all
Trip
Irish.
Trip McNeely.
That's true.
All right, come on, guys.
Yes.
I wish my name was one syllable, McCullough.
Hey, you were still Brian MC.
That's true. You bequeath that on to me, and I'm running with that.
I don't have anything cool like that.
That's like a Beastie Boy.
So, so guys, I guess there was a limited edition chicken bacon ranch. I don't know if it had a special like a sauce or
Chicken bacon ranch.
A chicken bacon ranch
flavor.
LE?
Yeah, a limited edition.
Damn.
Yeah, so I don't know. I never had it. I've never been that fortunate.
Fortunate.
Few have.
Fortunate.
But I want to talk about the goldfish sequence because I thought that was an important one.
Yeah, what?
Brian, I want you to elaborate. Let's go.
He didn't write that fucking note to that kid. That's so stupid. Why would he say, hang on, the entire world who's waiting
The world
for me to
can
come
wait.
out and give a speech.
The world can wait.
The world can wait. I can write a note, a one-sentence note to some random kid whose goldfish died because I didn't feed it.
Remind me who the kid was, because I asked Ben this while I was watching.
Wasn't it like the son of the they were
the Russian or of
the oligarch or somebody was there.
It was some random
kind of
kid.
who cares? All that matters is it was this kid's goldfish. They were staying
in the
at
room
their
that he was
place.
staying. Yeah,
He's like, I'll take care of this goldfish. It's just
There
another
are some
way
things I can do.
the world
Actually, that
can
was
wait.
not bad.
Yeah,
It's the hagiography of Ronald Reagan. It's the
Hold on. How do we pronounce that word? Because
Reagan?
hagiography.
I don't know.
Hagiography. Do you know this?
Huh?
English major.
You're the English major.
Yeah, you're the English major.
It's hagiography.
No, it's not. I would pronounce it hagiography. Maybe it's hagiography.
I think
that came up a lot.
I believe that's correct.
That came out a lot in my searches for this. A lot of hagiography.
Well, it's basically Ronald Reagan's a saint, and we're putting him up here as a saint. We're canonizing him, and I think that's another example of how can we make this guy look superhuman, like he has no flaws.
Yeah,
he even has the heart to write this letter to this boy about a goldfish, and it's just like I wrote in my notes, "Gag me with a spoon," because it was terrible.
Yeah.
Hot pocket.
That's a hot pocket for you. I don't think we've done meatball mozzarella yet.
Sure haven't.
We haven't. And boy, where do we go for this meatball mozzarella? I want to talk about the music in this film.
The soundtrack or the needle
guys,
drops.
it was all over the place.
Yeah. Speak on it.
This is the weird thing about tone. Like, there's a weird thing about music and having a pattern and a flow and like a cohesiveness to it. And this is what confused me because it got to the montage of his fake ad reading, and it felt playful, it felt fun, it felt ironic, it felt goofy and weird. And I didn't know if they were playing to that. And then there were weird moments where he would be serious and dramatic with his wife, and they would go to another scene and he would be like winking to the camera, and it would be like ching, and like it would be like the weird like do and like it would play a weird orchestra. So I was just wildly confused as to what tone they were trying to go after. And so the soundtrack matched identical to like how the ups and downs of this film for me were so inconsistent. And I had no idea what direction it was going to go or what direction it was trying to go. It felt like they shot 3 or 4 different styles of movie and they just compressed it into this 2.5 hour film. I guarantee this cut was 3.5 hours long.
Yeah.
And they just had so much on the cutting room floor, and they were like, no, let's just cut the big beats and just go after it.
The soundtrack was very generic. It was straight out of 1995. It was overly sentimental, and probably written by AI for the most part. So it was terrible.
Brian, I'm going to save this buffalo chicken chili cheese for you.
Let's do it. Let's talk about the war on drugs. Okay. Because Ronald Reagan had a few, kind of big things that he's attributed to. One of them being the Berlin Wall. One of them being, sort of the nuclear arms decommissioning with Gorbachev and all that. A couple other things. But I think he's, to this day, most enduringly known for perpetuating, not starting, but highly perpetuating the war on drugs and the just say no and the criminalization of all drugs. And you guys, they did not, I think they showed in one of the montages somebody saying something about that, but they never addressed that. And that was such a huge thing with him and Nancy Reagan. I remember she did like PSAs about drugs and all this stuff.
Yeah. She was huge in that. Yeah, she was massive in that.
What a huge failure. What a huge failure that we're still experiencing to this day. I would say maybe more of a failure than the wins he had with the Berlin Wall and all that. You can't really measure that, but I think so. Nancy Reagan at one point in this movie says, and this is an actual line from the movie. She says to him, "You just might need to save us."
Yeah,
and she's talking about the human fucking race.
The human race.
You just might need to save us, okay? Yeah. And then he does go on to save all of us. I think we're idolizing a man who's responsible for the perpetuation of the war on drugs, which is a heinous, terrible act. And we're not going too political here. We're going to leave a little bit political, just a little bit. Comment down below how much you hate me and disagree with this. But
Brian,
war on drugs, guys. I'm sorry, but systemic racism, mass drug-related incarceration. Okay, 25% of the inmates in the world are here. We only have 5% of the population, and most of them are drug-related. Okay, just going to leave that there. That's a stat. It's a statistic. How about the economic costs between locking all these people up and focusing on the war on drugs? Huge economic cost, right? Didn't deter any drug use, so it didn't fucking work. Good job, President. You didn't do anything. You're stupid. You're not stupid. Yeah, you're great, but that policy was stupid. And then I'd say I think it led to the violent drug cartel increase. I think violent drug cartels happened because of the war on drugs. I think those would not have been nearly as prevalent as they are now if it wasn't for that. And then I think the spread of diseases like HIV, I think are a result of people not going in to get treated for or not seeking out clean drugs and having to go
the education on it all,
and everything. And it's just those are like the top talking points that like everybody knows, everybody's heard these. This isn't anything new, but I think we kind of forget that all of these things are a result of the thing that he pushed as like one of his main party line agendas, and like the movie about him doesn't even talk about that.
And the other thing that I feel like is like a huge oversight is like they don't talk at all about like the whole trickle down economics, kind of aspect of taxation,
Reaganomics,
and how that the implications of that and how that has had reverberations for decades.
Yeah.
So yes, I think that's a very good and fair point, and I think this movie very clearly glossed over the more controversial aspects of the Reagan presidency.
Yeah.
I think we can say that for sure.
That was a nice buffalo chicken.
It was. Whenever there's a chili cheese involved.
Yeah.
We're working on this flavor. We've submitted this flavor where it's pending approval.
It's the most bold. It's the most danceable bold flavor.
It's buffalo chicken chili cheese. It could have a buttery crust. Could be ranch blasted. No one knows.
Yeah.
All right. Is this all still? Hot Pocket. That's right.
Fucking April.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
God damn it.
All right. I want to finish on a chicken parm because it's one of my favorites. Hot Pocket. That's right. Chicken parm. Ranch blasted.
Poof. Oh, it's ranch blasted. Sweet.
Ranch blasted chicken parm.
Ranch blast that.
Finally.
I want to talk about the whole final sequence. There was a lot going on, guys. First of all, 10 minutes of credits. Can we get a couple points for that? A couple points. Woo!
10 minutes.
Big.
10 minutes of credits.
Actually,
guys, can we add a point for that? 6? Maybe?
There was a long credit scene.
I'll go to 2.
Okay, thank you, Ben.
No.
He's doubled his score. He has doubled his score.
Oh, man.
I'm not going to give more points for a movie just because it had 10 minutes.
Oh, but you have before.
Historical footage credits?
The historical footage credits.
When it's been 20 minutes for a Marvel movie, and also if the movie wasn't 220.
Yeah. It was a slog.
And I wasn't allowed to turn off those fucking credits because it had video playing and they played with you.
Let's
You never
talk
know
about
when
that.
you get to the end of a movie when they're playing. It's like, okay, is this part of the movie? Are they going to show bloopers? Is there going to be an after scene credits?
Bloopers.
I love it's so refreshing in a movie where you just see fucking unit production manager scroll up. You're like, okay, the movie's over. I can turn it off. On this one,
not here.
No, okay, it's the credits, but I'm still supposed to be watching. So that's why I'm not adding a point.
So first of all, I thought it was a little weird how the funeral sort of procession, like the real footage, was like the credits. It was like it was uncomfortable.
That was a little dark.
It was a little dark and kind of like like Nancy. It was really sad seeing like Nancy Reagan like hug
really
the coffin and like kind of. It was just kind of like yeesh. Like I get why they did it, but it just seemed once again tonally. I agree with you guys, all over the place. Didn't quite work here, and then it just kind of transitions back to these sort of younger photos with this nice music. After that, it was weird tonally.
He literally rides off into the sunset, and then they cut to her crying on his coffin,
right, with bagpipes of
With
Amazing
bagpipes
Grace.
and
it's just so,
it was rough. Now
it's so ironic because of the amount of times that Ronald Reagan talked about everything being happening according to God's plan and him being behind everything, and then for that to be how his life ends.
Well, he died very, very old, though. Let's put
But he died of Alzheimer's.
I mean,
like who
but he
wants
did
to
die
die
in
of
his
Alzheimer's?
90s.
Now, it was a weird thing that I had to mention this guy, John R. Burletta. Do you guys know who this is? His Secret Serviceman for 17 years.
No.
He wrote a biography.
Yeah, it was incredible. Like what a human. Like when you read this guy's biography and you're like, wow, what a guy. And so they kind of mentioned him really briefly on Air Force One when they were like, he's like,
was he the guy that rode the horses with him?
Yeah, he was like, am I just going to be the guy that rides horses with this guy?
Right, yeah.
And I was like, what a story. And I was like, well, who is this guy? And I was like, really? And then at the end of the movie, when they're talking about him at the ranch and he's like kind of losing his memory, and this guy stuck with him, and I was like, oh, who is this guy?
Sure.
And I was like fascinated by
Would have
this
been
guy's
cool
story.
to delve into that.
I thought the
No
way that
kidding.
they handled the whole dementia thing and everything was not bad. I thought they handled it decent because I knew it was coming. It was another thing. It was like you got to cover this somehow, and I thought the way they did it was like fine. It was. I thought they could have
the
done
most
worse.
touching part of the whole film. Him and that guy at the very end.
The
when he's
final
talking
horse
about it.
ride.
Yeah, that was his Secret Service.
I liked it. It was kind of emotional. It was like he's riding off into the sunset.
It didn't hit me at all. Yeah,
not at all. I mean, that was the only thing that really hit me.
That
final ride was
enough to do research on this Secret Service.
That final ride was the most forced in an overly sentimental part of the movie for me.
I mean, I agree with that, but I was very curious who this guy was.
Was it not beautiful as hell?
I mean, that set piece was gorgeous.
That was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was
beautiful.
Dennis Quaid riding a horse in like golden hour. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, just not into that.
I liked it.
You're not horny for America after that?
I was super horny. Boner for America, no doubt.
Yeah.
And I want to end on a hot habanero, pepperoni, and sausage. And I want to talk about Dennis Quaid's brother, Randy Quaid.
Hell yeah.
A true patriot, right?
Yeah. A real one. A real one.
Am I right?
A real one.
Am I right?
No.
What's everybody's favorite Randy Quaid role?
No.
Let's go.
No.
The Boys.
The Boys.
The Boys.
Yeah.
The Boys is great.
Good one.
Oh, it's absolutely old boy from Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Vacation, Uncle, what's his fucking name?
You're on Christmas Vacation.
You're on Christmas.
I'm doing also National
Uncle
Lampoon's
Eddie,
Vacation.
right?
Uncle Eddie.
Uncle Eddie.
That's my favorite.
I'm
role
going
of his.
Vegas. I'm going Vegas Vacation.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't remember that one very much.
Ooh.
Oh, that was
Okay.
like mine growing up. Was Vegas Vacation.
Yeah.
As a Griswold.
Mine
Sorry,
was-
guys.
Oh,
Yeah, right. This guy's a Griswold.
I'm a
He
Griswold.
is a Griswold.
That's right.
yeah.
That was mine.
I would say Christmas is the number one of all of them, but I liked him
I get
as
that.
that role. I guess I thought you were asking what role. So
We love you, Randy.
I don't love him
Oh,
anymore.
we wish him.
Before he was fucking crazy.
We wish him well. We wish him well.
Sure.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Grizz, do you know anything about Randy Quaid today?
Nothing.
Why don't you Google him
I will Google him
tonight
I'll Google him later.
and then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's got some things going on, but those are his things.
You know,
it's because
And that's why he's a hot habanero.
I wish him the best, but
Independence Day.
don't take any advice
Come on.
from him.
It's from all those years of living on that nuclear test site.
Yeah.
Yeah, the plate in his head.
You know,
Yeah.
Randy, but Independence Day.
Yeah, Independence Day. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, just iconic.
He had some good roles
He did.
before it happened, before he,
Yeah, well, things happen.
kind of like Braveheart with Mel Gibson. Yeah, it was awesome. I'm not going to say it wasn't, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
let's bring this back positive. This got negative.
I think we had some fun tonight. I think
Ranch
we had some
Blasted.
fun tonight. We didn't like this movie, and that's a big shocker. But we're gonna do another episode. We're going to talk about another film, and it's called "It Ends with Us." I don't know.
Can we not give closing thoughts, or
no? We are.
Okay.
We will.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I knew to circle back to that, but thanks for calling me out on it anyway. It Ends with Us. Who's in that?
Blake Lively.
Blake Lively's in that. So I don't know what that is.
And nobody else we know at this moment.
Yeah, you're kind of right.
Yeah, I'm right.
Old girl from SNL. She's one of the voices in the Lorax. What's her name? Jennifer.
Exactly.
Exactly. No, you get the hiccups.
no.
It's great. I know her name. Dang
As
it!
soon as I went to the
Y'all
old
know.
dog.
Y'all know who I'm talking about, right? You'll know it when you see her. She's famous.
All
And
right,
I can't place her name right now. Jennifer something or other. But we're gonna do It Ends with Us, and it's this year, 2024.
Big divided film too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're excited about it. But yes, we are going to give Brian. Thank you. Closing thoughts.
Jennifer is her formal name. Jenny Slate. Yes, Jenny Slate.
She's not from SNL, but yeah,
She wasn't on SNL.
Way off.
she is. She's Marcel the Shell in Marcel the Shell.
No, she was famous before that, but I got her first letter for first
She's
name
also
right.
in Parks and Rec.
She was? Mm-hmm. We might not be talking about the same person. Closing thoughts?
Yep. Give it to us.
So I know I've shit on this movie, and there's a lot more I could say, but I think just the craft of the movie was absolute garbage. It was a minimum viable product to be a movie. I think it was exactly what, the minimum thing they needed to make in order for the demographic that was built in to go see this movie and give them money. And they made $30 million from that. And it was very unrealistic. The storytelling and narration were terrible. The narration throughout was just, it's like, oh my God, come on. You can't show anything. There was no SDTs in this movie. And then the performances were very bad as well. So those were the things that I hadn't said yet. Everything else, I've said, and I don't need to say again. So just absolute travesty and a disgrace. And I'm offended for all other movies, except for Madam Web.
This guy's got the hiccups, so you better let
I'm
it rip.
losing it. Yeah. As soon as I went to the Old Elk, I'm sorry, guys. Yeah.
This is so good.
It is so good.
It is good. Yeah, this is a hard one. I don't know. I mean, there were a couple of things, but I couldn't tell if it was a comedy or a drama How does that go off? A comedy or a drama or whatever it was. I was so confused by this entire film. So I think a 5 out of 100 is aggressive, but thank you, Old Elk.
I love everything you're saying, but I can't.
Yes, I know it's
laugh.
hard.
I can't.
It's hard. You're making it hard.
You did so good
did
tonight.
good.
You
I tried as hard as I could.
Good.
You can't help when the
Okay.
hiccups hit you. You know what I'm saying?
Guys, I should have given this movie a 19. Obviously, I
Thank
should
you.
have.
You totally redeemed yourself.
But I just wanted to argue with you guys, and I thought it was fun, and I still gave it a shitty review. Let's be serious.
Yeah.
And I did. I love my country, and this movie made me feel things for America.
Very thankful to live here.
For America. So I appreciated
America
that.
is good.
I appreciated that to some extent.
I mean,
the least worst.
it's go to other countries.
Sorry, Nick. Nick has the floor.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's a ridiculous film with a ridiculous actor in Dennis Quaid, and it's just. I gave it a 45.
Am I putting you down for a 19, or am I
I'm proud of you, buddy.
No, you put
Should
me
we
down
push
for a
it down to
45?
19 from 45?
No.
That would have been the biggest jump
That's
down
fine.
or up.
We're staying on 45
I respect
because
it.
I actually did. I want to stick with that because I thought it was a bad movie, but I got some enjoyment out of it. I thought the acting was bad. I thought Dennis Quaid was particularly bad, but weirdly entertaining. I thought, I enjoyed the history lesson. I thought it was okay. I thought it was bad.
I
Pretty
agree.
bad,
I think,
but okay.
You know what? That's a good point. Dennis Quaid wasn't boring.
He wasn't. He wasn't boring.
Yeah.
He was entertaining but bad.
Yeah.
So, and you know me, I don't value the craft. I only value how my selfish.
I doubled my score for that.
Yeah,
No
he did.
shit.
Doubled
One to
up.
a 2.
Doubled up.
Yeah.
That's right. So
I need to start documenting you. I need to add an Excel column for Ben. I don't know why I haven't
we
done
do.
this.
We do.
What?
I have one for Genevieve. Well, I have one for guest, and we've only had one guest, so I need to add one for Ben.
So-
April,
the
how do
guest-
I add a column? I'll have you
Doesn't
do that
matter.
later.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Grizz is going to give us a quick reminder about where you can find us.
Guys, you can find us everywhere. Just search Critical Mass Podcast. Apple, Spotify, all the places.
Just speak critical mass to the universe.
Yeah.
And
Flying
it
down.
thanks
It's a
us.
lot easier to search than it is to just find our username on all these platforms. Just search Critical Mass Podcast.
There you go. There you go. That's right. Next time, it ends with us. That's what we're going to talk about. And we're looking forward to it, and we hope you join us.
See ya.
Later.